it going, Gandalf? Hey, Trace. I'm a tad bit later than I wanted to be. I was hoping to get it in about 4 o'clock to get some of the UK people here, but we'll see. It's Saturday night. They should all still be up, right? Let me be back in a minute. Maybe you guys will go upstairs. Maybe not. We'll move you down. Oh goodness, making it way down, huh? Anyway, this front-facing camera is not very good, is it? This is a new home for the Ornithoctone species present de Abuelis. I don't know if this will help. Maybe you guys can see a little bit better with this on. I don't know. I kind of like it. I've had this basketball cube for a while and I haven't used it, and I couldn't figure out who to use it. I was sitting there last night trying to figure out what I wanted to do with it, and I was debating between her and the OBT, but she's a very, very expensive spider, so I figured I'd give her something really, really nice to hang out in. We'll get some video when she starts webbing it up. I always call these the Asian GBBs because they pretty much act just like them. They're, at least here in captivity, I guess you'd call it. Because my other one, she's back there, she just webbed the whole entire ground floor. I think you guys have seen her in a video or two. She was the one that was in the one clip I had where I think it's called Spider Creeping Up on Mealworm or something like that. Yeah, I imagine it's late over there. I was really hoping to get on a little bit earlier. Yeah, I almost fell asleep too. My wife and Haley's working, and Eric and Linda and Eric's friend went to the, what do they call it, the chicken wing cook-off. I usually go, but I didn't want to go this time. With this medication, I didn't really want to do chicken wings. A bunch of greasy foods probably wouldn't have been a good idea. So we'll wait. We'll wait for some more people to get in here before we start talking about exactly what I'd like to do. I got some advice from a couple people, actually about 3 or 4 people that I talked to today, and they all pretty much said kind of the same thing. To try and increase channel traffic, I guess you could say, getting people to come and watch the video, so it makes it more worth my while. Not that it isn't now, but how you doing, animal owner? Yeah, we're really going to change things here. I've done a lot of soul searching, and in fact I already put up 14, 15 tarantulas already. That I sent the list to my friend to see if he was interested in them. So far, I think he's probably interested in all of them. And then 3 of my Poecilotheria are going. Of course, those are going to Amy when I get an opportunity to. I want to have room for what I want to do. As long as we're staying here, I need to downgrade to have the room to do what I want to do. So I wanted to do, it's going to be my next podcast probably, is actually trying to figure out how to know what you want to do in your hobby. I appreciate that. I was talking to Andy earlier, and after talking to him from Andrew's Exotics, after talking to him, he gave me some advice the other day, because I was just, I couldn't believe that some of my videos, I mean, the feeding clips that I put up the other day, I thought they were really, really good feeding clips, but they only have like 38 or 40 views on them, and I was kind of stunned, and it really kind of bugged me a little bit. But I asked him, I was like, what the hell is the key here? What am I doing wrong? And he thinks I upload too much. And matter of fact, everybody that I've talked to so far says that I need to upload less than what I do. And they go back to what Petco's doing, where Petco was doing 3 videos a week. Now he's only doing 2, because the third video is actually hurting him in traffic because of YouTube algorithms. So hopefully coming down a little bit on the amount of stuff that I do, maybe that'll help. I don't know. We got to try something, because I just don't get, the subs are great, and the more subs you get, of course, the more views you get, but it's the views that really count on YouTube. The more views you get, the algorithm change. When the algorithm changes, YouTube starts recommending you to, say you're just watching videos of tarantulas, mine you may get recommended now instead of where before they weren't, and it's kind of bugging me. I see some new channels that just started that did one quick video that's 7 minutes long and has over almost 600 people that have viewed it already. I haven't had a video that's even come close to that this year, so that kind of bugs me. Yeah, I should have turned that damn heat down. I'm gonna bake in here again, I think. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy doing, multiple uploads. That's not a problem. And that was my thing, is that I was always worried that I needed to keep putting stuff out so people would actually come and watch. And I don't know that that's the right answer, actually. I think, maybe 12 to 16, 17-minute videos that are more concentrated on things and better titling, I think is going to be important too. Like Kat had said that I shouldn't just do like a Q&A video. It should be like pick a question out of the Q&A video and put that in the title and bring people in that way. So we'll have to see. But she had some good advice, and a couple other people had some really good advice. So, and they all kind of paralleled each other. So I got to take it as they're probably right. Yeah, I'm going to start that in February, Gandalf. That's one of the things I'm going to do is 2 videos a week, and they're going to be on the same days. So, well, not the same day, 2 videos in one day, but same day uploads every week, at least the best of I can, because of, working schedule may hinder things here or there. But my big thing before was, the reason I uploaded so much was because my old phone didn't have the capacity to hold so much data, and the videos take up a lot of room. Even putting them over to the SD card, so I would video and they would go to the SD card. But I'm gonna real quick, because this is flashing in the back and it's driving me nuts. You could keep seeing the light from the TV in the back. Anyway, my old phone only had so much room, so I would video stuff and then I would put it together into Viva Video, and if I wanted to store it, I could store it, but Viva Video stores it back onto the phone memory. So I would get to the point where I'd have a really, really good video. I'd go to upload it, and it would say I didn't have enough disk space, and that used to drive me crazy. So this new phone has 32 gig. It says 16, and it also, I put a 64 gig SD card in here. So I have a lot more room that I could actually film stuff slower and save it and put better videos together, I guess, instead of just hurry up, rush, and put stuff together that I filmed, because I mean, I think I do get some pretty good feeding clips, but I think I need to do some things just a little bit different. How you doing, Andy? I was just telling him kind of some of the stuff that you said to me about, not uploading as much, and what Kat said too is, different channel or different titles for my channel. Not my channel, but different titles for my videos, more catching. Um, I mean, I got to take what she says because it's worked for her. So I'm kind of hoping it works for me, at least a little bit anyway. But anyway, I was telling Andrew this morning, go back to that 3K thing there, animal owner. I mean, that's my goal for this year was what did I say, Andrew? 3.5K by July. I'd like to get 1,500 subscribers by July, and it's probably not feasible. Maybe by the end of the year, that would probably be more a realistic number. But I wanted to set the goal high because it would make me strive to do better stuff and maybe get more people to come here. But we'll have to see, how it works, and we'll just do one thing at a time. But we're going to start with this in February. We have I'm going to do another collab video of Valentine's Day with a bunch of YouTube channels again, similar to the 12 Days of Christmas thing, but just one day. So we'll do we'll have different people send a video and do like a Valentine's greeting for Valentine's Day. So that's the one thing that we're going to do, and thinking about like doing twice a month updates. Definitely at the end of the month, so we can kind of update the whole entire month, and then a mid-month update. And then if anything huge happens, of course, we'll do breaking news. Like if one of the tarantulas lays an egg sac, or we have a confirmed female out of a molt or something like that. We'll do like a breaking news kind of video. But where are you at now? How many do you have, animal owner? Did I subscribe to you yet? I don't know. I'm not sure if I did. If not, I'll make sure that I do after I get done with all this. I'm hoping Ian comes in, because I was talking with Ian the other day, and I didn't know if I was subscribed to him, but I already was, so I got to make sure I let him know that. I know it is, Andrew, but I'm going to do it. If I do it, you're going to have to buy me a tarantula. How about that? 110? I think you could do it. There's a lot of channels, and I think the channels are growing quicker. Smaller channels are growing quicker now than they were when I started. It took me a year just to get 700. And I remember Dave Scott told me, it took him 13 months to get 700. He was so tickled when he got to that point. And mine was pretty much paralleled with his. When he took me 12 months, took him 13 months, I think, if I remember correctly. But and I'll tell you, really, I think collabs help, depending on where they're going. I mean, I did the collab here. I don't know. I know Vic got some help for the 12 Days of Christmas thing. His channel grew a little bit because of that, but I've been in, I think 2. I've done some stuff with Vic, but that wasn't really collabs. It was just kind of helping him out. But I did the one with Kat and really didn't see anything. I was really surprised because of how big of a channel she has. When we did those videos, I thought that I would see a little bit, and I really didn't see much. But I mean, that wasn't her fault. Oh, Robert. I like seeing new names. Like I mean, this is what, the third chat, or right? I think it's the third chat I've done. And I was really worried doing the first one, but I kind of like them. I actually really do. I started, my first video was, I think, in late January, early February of 2017. And the first video I did it wrong. I did it in portrait mode, and I was watching. I was like, why does it look like that? I didn't really learn anything. I didn't really have anybody to say this is what you needed to do. I kind of learned on my own, and then took some advice from Dave Scott. Was the one that really helped me. I said, hey, turn the camera sideways. You'll be able to get better footage that way, and it's widescreen. And I wasn't talking. It was just feeding tarantulas, and it was 4 or 5 or 6 of them at a time, and then that was it. All great spiders, absolutely. Congratulations on the additions. I have some big stuff coming. I just pre-ordered. What I pre-ordered? 3. There's 3 new African tarantulas coming in that are, I think, the first time in the States. They won't be here till sometime, probably end of February. But they're pre-ordered. One of them is, excuse me, I might have talked about this in the last one, but ter, yeah, Terran, yeah, oh my gosh, I can't even talk. Terranachilus cordatus mostov. If you guys see this trench, you're going to be absolutely floored by the color patterning and how dark it is. And then I ordered a Terranachilus marinus Zimbabwe, which is more of the silver or grayish OBT, I guess you could call it. And that one was a little bit pricey. And what was the third one? Oh, the Terranachilus lapalala is now going to be here in the States. So I got one of those too. I think there's one more that I'm looking for. I think it's like the Lorax, or I have to look it up again. I can't remember what it is. But I'm getting there with the baboon, especially the Terranachilus genus. Yeah, I did a quick thing with Peyton. She lives not far from me, so she wanted to do something. So I just met her at. We're supposed to meet in. I don't remember where we were supposed to meet it originally. But we ended up meeting at Country Fair and just jumped in her car and did a quick Q&A there. It was a lot of fun. We need to do it again. Her and I need to do something again. She's so busy right now, though. Oh yeah, Singapore blue. I never had one. I'm actually going to scale back a little bit on my Asian species. I like the Cereopagopus genus. I'm not getting rid of my Ornithoctines or Ornithoctonus, or I'm keeping my Cereopagopus haughty and Elbow striatus ratchetberry because that one's not going to be very big. But I'm going to probably get rid of the Paganus and the Hyaenaeus and my Lividus female. Things that I just don't really want to work with, and they're taking up room, I guess, you know, as sad as that sounds, or mean as that sounds, but they are taking up room for something I'd rather work more with. Which ones, Robert? Which ones are going to get big? You're talking about, oh yeah, your Gigas definitely. You know, that could be a 9-inch spider easily. Same thing with the Canthoscurria geniculata, probably more like about an 8-inch one if it's female. The Homora I can get about 6 and maybe 7, but that's, you know, that's kind of, it's a reserved actually. They don't look the same. You know, the Brachypelma Homora 6-inch spider doesn't look the same as a Canthoscurria geniculata 6-inch, 7 spider, 6-inch, 7-inch spider. It's like, you know, the bulldog look with the agens, but yeah, Singapore blues get big too, absolutely. I'm not huge into no, L. parabana do not get 14 inches. 8 inches is probably really more realistic for a L. parabana. I know there's been some that have been 10 inches, but that's out of the norm. It's not really the norm. I think 8 or 9 inches is probably more norm. A civilian. I like that. That's a good way to put that. Civilian. Non-YouTuber. Non-creator. Just a fan. Hey Jay, how are you? But yeah, so that's kind of what I want to do. We're gonna work with some very selective genera here, and when I say work, I mean like experimentation and breeding projects, stuff like that. Most of the African species, Ceratojaris definitely, Terranachilus, Harpactira are going to be the big ones. I'd also like to get into the Heterothelia again, the dwarf ones. I'm not really interested in Hysterocrates or the Pelanobius. I'm not really into those. I really want to work with, you know, the ones I just mentioned more than any of them. Those three genus, or those three genera. basically are the ones I want to deal with, and then throw the heterothelly in there, so make it 4. And then I really want to push my Chilobrachys collection. My Huahini's a mature male. I can't find a female for him anywhere, so I'm gonna have to get a couple slings of those, and I need a Discalus again. And I just want to get, I want to, Ephebopus, another genus I want to work with. Sericopalma, which is a New World genus I want to work with. Acanthoscuria, some of the obscure ones, not the basic ones that I have, the Musculosa and the Geniculata, but some of the other ones that you don't see every day. Maybe Nandus a little bit more. I mean, I have 2, but I don't know. We'll have to see. And then my Salmopaeus, of course, and Brachypalma. Other than that, it's just going to be selective stuff here or there that I'm keeping some small things. But I'm getting rid of all my Lasiodora. I'm not quite sure on my Faunopelmas yet. I don't want to get rid of my Moderatum or my Chalcodes. My Simoni. There's a handful of stuff. Like I said, there's probably 14 to 20 of them right off the top of my head that I wouldn't mind moving out to move new things in. T group, yeah, that's a good way to put it, huh? I am in actually McCain, Pennsylvania, which is just south of Erie, Pennsylvania. So I'm about 10 minutes from Lake Erie here in Pennsylvania. If you look at, if you can picture the state of Pennsylvania, that little key part on the top, the little where it's kind of like a triangle up there, that's where I'm at right in that area. In fact, I think the original Pennsylvania border, before we got Erie, way back in the day, when Pennsylvania was awarded this little tract of land here, which we call Erie County, so that Pennsylvania had access to the waterway from New York. I think the actual old border is just right down the road here. So if we would have been in old days when, before that was given to them, I think we actually would have been just inside of Pennsylvania. The rest of it would have been New York up there. So tell him I said hi back. Is his name Xander, or just nickname for Alexander? Because one of my sons is named Alexander, which calls Xander all the time. But I guess it's an OR, so that's probably his actual name, right? So, I mean, the filming's going to be different here once we start getting things situated, because we're not going to have some of them big beefy tarantulas that have those hammer takedowns. We're going to have sneaky, African species and Asian species doing the takedowns, but we're going to do a little bit of experimentation with some of these African species on setups and stuff like that. So that's really where I want to go. Those and Ephebopus were really the two genus I really want to work with the most. Oh man, rotator cuff. I feel you, man. I have a terrible right shoulder. I have tendonitis and bursitis. I'm sure that you know exactly what that feels like. Yeah, the only cool people are on the west side of Pennsylvania, just so you know that. Alexander. That's interesting. It might be another week before I put something else out as far as videos are concerned, Robert. But yeah, I'll look forward to you. Make sure you comment when you see it. Well, we're up to 10 people. I like people just kind of like sit in the background. I mean, I watched a live video today that I was just sitting in the background. I'm sure that my number was up there. I didn't really comment because I didn't feel it was my place to, but I don't know. I found I've watched a few live streams that the people weren't actually really as engaged as I thought they should be. They're doing stuff in the background, and I mean, you just put a spy cam in your bedroom and be done with it. I guess, I don't know, it kind of struck me as odd. Yeah, I appreciate that, Aces fan. That makes me feel good hearing that people do like what I do. We did. Oh, I could probably show you guys some. Let me see. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but one of my favorite spiders from Africa is my Ceratojaris meridiodonalis, and I'm pretty sure it was a she eventually. When I looked today, that's what it kind of looked like. Anyway, she was in one of the softball cubes, so something similar to this. So last week it was so warm in here, and I was so sick, and I was having problems with them, and I saw her out, and she looked like she was curling, and I got scared because you can't find these every day. So I watered her up, and she went crazy with the water, and I put her in this. This was the old home for one of my Ephebopus murinus, the little one that passed away. I don't know how much you're going to be able to see here. Well, you're probably not going to be able to see that one. Let's try this way. So they blind me. I don't know. Anyway, she's right underneath the log. You can see she's like right. Maybe I'll see her better this way. I don't know. But I want to see what she did, and she already dug all the way to the back corner here. So she's got a spot here and there. So she was in one of those Fatal Fangs clips that I put up today, 5 of them. She was the one that snuck up from the bottom of the camera and grabbed the worm that was up there. I absolutely adore that spider. I can't wait till she gets a little bit bigger. She's one of the Ceratojaris that doesn't get a horn. I did blind myself because now I'm seeing little dots on my camera here. Hey Christian, how are you? Oh, I appreciate that. I really wished I would have, stuck Fatal Fangs out a little bit more, but there was just so much stuff going on, and I really couldn't tolerate some of the things that were being said, and some of the way some people were being, treated and handled. I know it was a frustrating thing for so many people, and I'm sure everybody really just wants to get it over with and start all over again, but I think they're down to the final 8 now, and I mean, I'm sure half of them realize they probably shouldn't be there because of the way the voting was, and maybe even more than half of them probably shouldn't be where they're at, but they're there where they're at. And we have there's 8 total. So you have Leon, who's from South Africa, and Dean, who's from the United States. The rest are all UK. I know Adam is from Wales, right? Or no, Adam's in Scotland. So you have 1 in Scotland and the other 3 in England somewhere there. But the 6 of them are from the UK. Which I think that the vast majority of the people that entered Fatal Fangs were from the UK anyway. Now, I'm not sure what you mean there. Infantry veteran there. Next year is a new year. Oh, for Fatal Fangs. Yeah, okay. I got it now. Yeah, I'm not going to enter next year. I won't do it. I put my name in to be a judge if they do something like that, but I'm not gonna enter again. It was really, really, really stressful, and I think that some people took it differently, and we're all different people. So I think people took it differently on what it really was to them, and to me it was really, really stressful trying to get the perfect clip, because I wanted to put the best stuff out there, not just for me to move on, but for people that follow me and enjoy my stuff. I wanted to do the best I could for everybody that does that, and I thought I had some really good clips, and I really still think that there were a couple of clips that I had and put out that were probably still the best that have been out there. Oh, that's okay, Andy. You eat, have a coffee, relax. I mean, how can you not have a bad day if you have 5 new H. pulchripes, right, Christian? I got to get a couple discaliths. I had 3. None of them ever made it. 3 or 4, I think, actually. None of them ever made it. No, it's Mikumi. It's M-I-K-U-M-I. Mikumi. Or Mikumai. I have 2 of those coming in. I think at least 2 of those from Pelt Friction. So Hey, Peter, how are you? I'm doing better, Christian. I feel a little bit better. I'm still not where I want to be as far as getting over this, whatever I have. I know the sinus infection, all that crap. I'm still not there. I get hoarse during the day. Work is tough because it's very humid there because the stuff that we use to lubricate the wheels when they make the wheels, it's in the air. So when I go from one spot of the building where it's dry to another part where it's really really humid, I'm not really making that transition very well, and I start to lose my voice. And I wasn't sure I was going to do this tonight because I can feel it right here. You know, it's really raspy right here. And but other than that, I'm starting to feel better. I mean, my chest pain's pretty much gone. Still a little bit when I cough, but not nowhere near what it was a few days ago. Okay, Peter, I got to ask you this question. Where do you put all those spiders that you get? You get like 15 boxes a week. I meant to ask you that on one of your videos, but I didn't want to seem like I was being rude. But you get a lot of stuff in. I know you give a lot of stuff away too, which is really cool. And you like have a second house to put all your spiders in. I'd like to actually see, you know, have you done a tour? I'd like to see that. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. How you doing, Bonnie? Yeah, well, yeah, I'm here. I'll probably be here for a while. I don't have anything going on. Haley gets out of work at 7, but the wife and my wife and my son are out with one of his friends doing a chicken wing cook-off thing. It's at Waldemar Park, one of the older amusement parks here in the United States. I'm gonna do some videos this summer of places around here, and I'll take you guys to Waldemar Park so you guys can check it out. I mean, it's an amusement park; they're all the same, right? But that's some kind of things I wanted to do differently too. Is just do some things about myself here or there, you know, growing up, and I'm gonna be 50 this year, so I've been here pretty much my whole entire life. We spent 3 years. Goldie, how close are you to York, Pennsylvania? Because I spent 3 years of my life in York, Pennsylvania. Lived down there. So I spent probably, I would say, 46 of my 50 years here in upper northwestern Pennsylvania. Another delivery. Holy monkeys. How many do you have now, Peter? Oh, you're 50. We're the same age, huh? When were you born? I was born July 25th. An hour southeast. Okay. So you'd be closer to the Penn State area then, right? No, I think I missed some questions here. Yeah, it does suck being sick. I hate it. I haven't been sick like this in probably 2 years. I get a cold every now and then, or I get bronchitis, I get some medication, it's all gone. But this has really hit me pretty hard. I think my wife is getting it now, unfortunately. I heard her sniffling out there, and she's going to probably murder me. Holy man. I need your job, Peter. What do you do so I can get some of that spider money that you got? I'm trying to think, Trace, because we would go down to Hershey and we would go across 80, and I can't remember where we would, you know, we'd get off at one exit one time and one exit a different time, but I know sometimes we'd go through Penn State, and oh man, what are some of the small cities? I just can't remember. One begins with an M. It's a really long name. Not Middlesex or West Middlesex, but you know, my son played a baseball tournament there a handful of years back. I can't remember. I think you got 100 last week, Peter. Don't pull my leg. You got to be at like 300-400 by now. It's like if I'm looking down, I'm reading. I don't have my little. I took my automatic charger, you know, the one that you just set the phone on, a wireless charger, I guess that is, because it doesn't work through my OtterBox. So I took that to work just to have to sit my phone on, and forgot to bring it home. What's your favorite one, Peter? I'll put you on the spot here. Out of the 4.5 thousand that you have, which is your favorite one? And don't tell me you don't know, because I won't believe you. Although I'll tell you what the answer is always the one that's in front of you. Yeah, Christian, when I started here, we'll talk about this for a little bit. The quantity over quality thing is what I've been saying before, and I think I did that in Leon's video when we did the information, or the one thing that we want to say to other keepers or new keepers. Um, it's hard in the beginning when you're looking at them, because you want them all. You want all of them. You want the orange one. You want the black one. You want the one that's all brown. You want them all. And then you start getting them in. It's not that you don't like them. Trust me, because I like every one of my transfers except for one. And that's the one that always wants to escape on me. And I don't, I just don't want to deal with that, because it is a lot faster than I expected it to be. And no matter how long you've been doing this, they catch you off guard. But finding that niche that you like, I'm finding that point now where I'm comfortable with saying, okay, I don't need all these spiders to keep my channel. I don't believe I do, but I think what I bring, and what I'll bring with the things that I want to work with, will be unique. So finding that spot where I want to be unique with my collection is where I'm at right now, and I'm kind of happy that I finally settled on what I want to do, and that I realize I don't want to get rid of them. It's going to be hard to say, oh, I don't want to pack this one up and let it go. But once it's gone from here, you see it in pictures, but you won't really think about it that much, because there'll be something that you now really want to work with and more passionate about. And I've told this to a few people, and I actually had one of my subscribers that I talked to about this, and they said that they wanted to work just with avicularia, and they were worried that because they thought that wasn't cool enough, that people wanted to see the baboons and the Asian species. I said, absolutely not. I said, you find something that you like and you stick with it. That's the best thing to do. If you like Grammostola, and you want to work with Grammostola, work with Grammostola. You don't need to have all these other ones. Even a YouTube channel doesn't need to have, hundreds and hundreds of spiders. I think if you're good at what you do, I think, and you're bringing the information, or relaying the information to people are going to come and want to watch you. And I think that's where I'm at right now. That's what I want to do, and I'm kind of excited about it. Oh, that's right, because I remember you talking about that, Peter. And didn't Jennifer come over and check it out? I didn't watch the video of her over there, but I'm remembering that now. Yeah, I mean, you can't. It's hard not to love the H. pulcher piece, huh? The first one I got, when I got to the point where you could, feel comfortable sex molting it, or molting it, yeah, molting it, sexing it with the molt. The first couple times I was like, oh, I got a male. It's gonna be small and skinny. I'm gonna send it off, and then this next molt, she just kind of really got wide, and I pulled the molt out, and there was, there's spermatozoa. I was so excited, and one of my good friends, Ruth, for mostly reptiles, she does so many things for so many people, and she was having a hard time with some stuff that was supposed to come in and never came in, that she needed for shows and stuff. So I decided that I said, how would you like to have this female to breed? Because the offspring of them, for her to sell would be huge. So that's what I did. I sent her my female, and my female Izandami. So since then, I've got two replacements, another Harpacteria pulchripes and another A. Izandami, and both ended up being females again. So I'm pretty excited about that. You can hear my voice starting to go right now. Yeah, you know what? I only have the Namaquiensis and the Pulcher piece. That's for right now. And the Pulcher piece has been a lot more reclusive. My Namaquinensis is out all the time, literally all the time. It has not dug, never really had a burrow. It just likes to sit out. It builds a little web, and it's got a little tunnel with the web, just a little bit, but nothing major where you can't see it. I would recommend one of those if you don't have one. I think they're one of the bigger baboons too, bigger Harpactira anyway. Yeah, I think it's important. If you can find that niche and you're comfortable with it, and you don't have to feel like you need to belong to some kind of special tarantula clique that you have to, excuse me, you have to have so many. I get the hiccups when I drink water. You have to have all these ones just to fit in, and that's the way I felt in the beginning. I wanted to fit in, and I wanted to learn, and I want people to, take me seriously. So I started getting things and just more things and more things. I mean, at one point I had like 4 Faunopelmis Monis, and I was like, why am I doing this? I go to Petco, they have another one, I get it. Why am I doing this? Just didn't make any sense to me. So now I found things that I really want to work with, and like I still want to keep my Chalcodes and moderatum in the Faunopelmis just because of the coloring. I love blonde tarantulas, so anything blonde is going to stay here. Nothing's going away. So of course, the only Simulpaeus I'm looking to get rid of will be my Cambridge eye, because that's a male, and I'd rather him go off somewhere now, so someone could get him to the point where he's mature and then use him as a breeder. But yeah, I'm not huge into arboreals, so no. But I do have 3 Avicularia Uranensis morph type 2s. I have 2 Avicularia Marinae, and then one we think is just an Avicularia. Most likely, I'll keep one of each of those. I'll keep the Marinae, one of the Marinaes, and one of the Uranensis. Hopefully, ones that become female, and then the rest of them will probably go to either Julian or to Amy. Yeah, that was cool. I think I should go see Peyton. I think we need to set up a time when I can go over to Peyton's place and do a collab video there at her place. I think that would be kind of cool. I think a lot of people would enjoy that. Now, Andy, this one I have here is not calm like my first one. My first one, she was chill. I mean, you could take the enclosure lid off and she would just sit there. You throw something in, she would gradually walk up to it, grab it, and then turn around and eat it. This one is a little bit more flighty and likes the surprise attack. I trust this one a lot less than I did my other one, so you're not alone there, Andy. Yeah, Christian, trust me, you won't be disappointed with the Namaquiensis. Absolutely, they're just wonderful. I have Babiana as a possibility that might be coming in on my surprise stuff from Pelt Friction, so I'm kind of hoping I get something new. I was kind of mixed it up with baboon species, one Sericopelma species that I really wanted to get, and then some Chilobrachy stuff. So I think if you see things that are new here, that's what it's really going to be, is those handful of genus or genera that I keep saying genus, but a handful of genera that I really want to work with. I don't think you're going to see a lot of new spiders come into the collection here over the course of this year, but we are going to do a lot more informational stuff, and let the people that, like Peter, who keeps getting new stuff, we'll let him do all the unboxings. Yeah, I see that, Peter. Like, you're like giving stuff away all the time, and it's it's commendable. I really like it. I think it's cool. That especially you guys over there, and that's another podcast I'm going to do, which is going to be the differences between the UK hobby and the United States hobby. I can't really speak for, Andrew. In the Europe, it's a little bit smaller. It seems huge in the UK, but a little bit smaller outside of the UK. And, here in the United States, I can't speak for Canada. I know there's a bunch of keepers up there, but not a ton of them. But some of the differences that I notice are the closeness that you guys have over there in the UK. And of course, prices are, that's a big thing. Stuff that you guys over there are a tenth of what we pay over here, and then poor Canada pays even more for them. But that's one of the points I wanted to drive across, is that we're not as close here in the United States. our country is selfish. You know, and sorry, I mean, I hate to say this. I've said this before, but the United States people are pretty selfish, and not that we don't do stuff for each other in the YouTube community, but it's so much more expensive to do that stuff over here than it is over there. You know, I mean, it'll cost one of us roughly $60 to ship a spider to somebody. You're talking $120 before you're all said and done just to send a gift to somebody. So it's kind of more difficult to do over here than it is over there. But I think it's cool that you guys can do that, and you know, you bond your friendships that way. But getting to actually see somebody in you know, in person is pretty cool. The only YouTuber that I've met is Peyton. I haven't met anybody else. We'll see. Maybe when I go to Buffalo, I'll be going to Buffalo show with my brother, and I think it's in May. Maybe we'll set up a time that we're definitely going to be there. Maybe some people can come up to Buffalo and we can hang out at the table or something there and chat. I don't know how many people you know, would want to meet me, but hopefully I'm going to have merchandise. Oh, I got some cool news for you guys too. As much as I love my logo, we're going to be getting a new one, and it's going to be hand drawn. It's Eric's girlfriend is doing this for me. I'll explain it a little bit. I think Andrew knows because I talked to him about it before on what I wanted to do. It's just a matter of once she draws it, how do I get it from paper to a logo? So we got to figure that part out. But what it's going to be is, imagine a circle. The lower half of the circle is going to be a brick wall. So you'll see the red brick wall. And on top of that wall, you'll have a spider hanging over with 4 of its legs outstretched like this. Each leg will have a can of spray paint. And then you're going to have eerie arachnids going across that block or brick wall in a graffiti kind of writing. And behind the spider, there will be webbing. And then the backside, which if you think of it as a shirt, the backside would actually be the back view facing the tarantula from the other side. So you'll see, or spider, whatever it will be. It's going to be more cartoony than, you know, what we have here, but I think it's going to be kind of cool. I told her not to rush. Hopefully we'll get this sometime in the summer, and we'll be ready for the fall with some shirts and stuff like that. I'm pretty excited about that. Okay, I'm scrolling back through. Sorry. I don't fear my pyramenias yet. I know they're crazy. We'll have to see how they go when they grow. They're both females, so we'll have to see how that works out with them. Because I've only had males, and I've never had one for more than a couple years because they mature out on me. But we'll see. The one that bugs me the most is that Cereopagabus hyaenaeus. That even when I put her back in, when she escaped in that video, and I put her back in, she was still trying to get out the whole time. You know, she was running around the whole entire thing. And the next day when I tried to feed her again, I tried to feed her something live, and you know, I took that waxworm out of there or whatever it was I put in there. She shot right back out again, and she was running around the outside of her enclosure. So yeah, I don't trust her at all. Maybe a deeper, larger, taller enclosure might help, but I don't know. It just seems like the air pressure change when I take the lid off is almost like an invitation for her to say, see you later. And, you know, it's every single time. Every single time. So I'd rather her go to somebody that, you know, will be able to set her up the right way and you know, want to work with her. I don't know. I'd rather work with the African stuff. 2 hours north of York. So are you above Interstate 80 or below Interstate? You'd have to be above 80, wouldn't you? More towards, yeah, you got to be, I'm trying to think. How far away from, what is that, Shoshone? Or Snowshoe or whatever that is, PA? I can't remember. I'm trying just to visualize. I mean, I could probably look it up on a map of Pennsylvania and figure out where you are, but I've been everywhere in Pennsylvania except for the Pocono area. Oh, I'm not saying it's not huge in Europe. It just seems like you see more. I guess because we see it here in YouTube, and we don't see a lot of European YouTube channels, because the ones that you do see are all in, they're speaking in Germany, or they speak in Belgium, I don't know what the languages are over there, but they're speaking in their foreign languages, so we don't watch them here because we can't understand what they're saying. So you see the UK channels more because they speak the same kind of language we do, so it's a little bit easier for us. And that's why I say, you know, the UK is huge, but I mean, the UK in reference is probably the smallest area out of all of the places that we have that keep spiders. I'm still hearing. Turn the volume all the way down. See you later, Gandalf. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Andrew, is I can scan it. It's just a matter of how, if I scan it, how do I get it to a logo form? Because I don't have the software to do that stuff, you know, like Adobe and stuff like that. So I may have to scan it, send it to somebody, and see if they can do that for me. I want it in a square. That's how she's going to draw it. But of course, if we want a circle, everything to fit in a circle for the channel, and then the square would be what goes on the t-shirts. I'm speaking Italian again, by the way. Yeah, I'll check it out when I get done with this, Peter. It's 100 miles north of York. That's up there. So you got to be close to the Poconos then. I mean, below the Poconos, right? I mean, because Pennsylvania's how long from top to bottom? It's 250 miles, I think, from us to the lower part of Pennsylvania here on the Pittsburgh side. So it can't be much more over there. So York is about 40 miles north of Baltimore, which would put you 145 miles. So you got to be close to being around the Poconos, right? Take it easy, Peter. Thanks for joining in anyway. Yeah, some other people said they wanted to meet up and just have a sit down too. You know, I'm much more comfortable here. I don't know how well I would do, and I'd be nervous and shy. I'm not really good with people you know, in person. Not that I wouldn't do it, but you know, I've had a ton of people want to come over here and see the collection. A couple of people that were actually up here fishing, and I said, "Hey, you're not even that far from me," and they wanted to come over here and see the collection. But it's just where we live, and you know what we live in, because we live in a mobile home. If you guys don't know that, and we live here. We bought this place a long time ago. We bought a house, moved into the house, and we couldn't sell this place. And then the market fell out. You know, I wasn't working a lot, so came back, and we came back here and stayed here this whole time because we want our kids to go through a school district. Now the twins graduate this year, but Eric and Haley are going to Edinburgh, which is right down the street. So I don't know, you know, I really have no ambition to leave here. I don't really mind being here. I just wish we had more room. I've never been a materialistic person, so I don't really care, you know, where I live as long as all my family is safe and healthy and have the stuff that they need. And for us to do the things that we did for our kids, you know, spending all the money we did on Alex for baseball, Eric with his cross country and track, and Haley with softball, and all the basketball and all that stuff, soccer that we've done over the years. We never would have been able to do that if, you know, we had bought a house and moved out of this place. And it's so much cheaper. I mean, you know, this place has been paid for a long time, so we got to do some improvements on it, but it's nothing really major. But yeah, so people coming here is just not really feasible. It's just too damn small. And I'm in a bedroom. I have our bedroom. So this is the master bedroom. And it's, I don't know, let's say, trying to think visually in my head, 10 feet, probably 12 feet by 12 feet wide. So it's not a small bedroom, but I have, her dresser, my other dresser, our nightstands, our closet over there, which is a disaster because there's no doors on it, and all my spider empty enclosures are up there. Our hot water tank's in our closet. So, I mean, a lot of people don't know that this is where I live and may not even think that, but we live kind of low key. I was never I need to keep up with the Joneses kind of person. So I've never even heard of the Bloomsburg Fair. So later, Andy. Thanks for stopping in. East of Poconos. Yeah, I didn't think you were that far away from them. We're going to be down to 4 people once Andrew leaves. Yeah, I didn't mind it. I mean, the funny thing was, Trace, is when I was a little kid, when my dad was in the Air Force, of course, I was born 69, 5 days after they landed on the moon, if they really actually landed on the moon. But so July 25th, 1969, I was a couple weeks away from being born in Texas, I think in Corpus Christi, Texas. But they moved my dad to Columbus, Indiana, because he was in the Air Force. So I was born in Columbus, Indiana. If you watch racing at all, with being up that close to Poconos, you probably know. But Tony Stewart's, I think, a year younger than me, and he was born in the same exact hospital that I was born in. Um, I'm not sure how long they stayed there. It wasn't too long. I think I was baptized there in Columbus, but we may have been here. I can't remember. So I think we were only there for a few months before they moved my dad to Turkey. So he went overseas to Turkey, and I didn't really see him much for the first couple of years of my life. He'd come home on leave, and I think we met him in Washington, D.C. We went to the zoo there with my aunt and my mom. Um, but when he came home, he joined the electrical apprenticeship program, and this would be through the IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. And they bought a trailer here in the same park that we're living in right now. Matter of fact, it would have been just kind of diagonal from us down a couple trailers. And the lot that we're in, my uncle lived in either this lot or the lot above us. So it was kind of cool, And I grew up here, and when my dad had a house built in Erie, I cried because I never want to leave here. I had so many good friends here. It was a very impressionable part of my life. I was in second grade. I just finished second grade when we moved, so I started third grade in a brand new school, which was a Catholic school. It was completely different for me. And I was miserable. I mean, I never really told my parents about that I was miserable where we lived. I mean, I made some really good friends there where we moved, but I was not happy there. I want to be back out here. I just felt like being in the country here where we are, where this park was more me, more laid back, more mellow. But yeah, so when Lynn and I we got an apartment when we got engaged, just before we got married, and we stayed there for about a year, and then we bought this place. We didn't pay a lot for it. Well, I mean $11,000 is still quite a bit of money back then, but I figure that was 21 years ago. And we stayed here for 3 years until she got pregnant with the twins, and then we bought a house because I said, there's no way we could have this many people in this house, in this little trailer, and she didn't want to leave. I kind of talked her into buying a house. So we bought a house down by our parents, and we lived in that for 3 years before, work was just so slow. I just couldn't pay for it. I was paying child support for my first child, and it just got hard. So we sold that place, moved back out here because we never sold this, and this is where we've been. And we never even really looked to move. That's because we made so many good friends out here. We didn't want to be away. We didn't want our kids pulled out of, I didn't want to do it to my kids what happened to me, being pulled out of really, really good friendships when they were young. So, and now they're going to go to college here. So I think that's just it's kind of cool. I like it. I mean, I like the way that this all worked out for us and the kids especially. We don't have a lot of room. Haley's got a really, really small bedroom, but we live and we get by with what we need to get by with, and I mean, we have a German Shepherd slash Husky in the house here, so we do what we gotta do, and I think we're much happier that way. I'd rather be happy here than, you know, miserable someplace huge. Although, if I did have more room, I'd be able to have more spiders, and that probably would make me a little happier. But yeah, I'm not a big city person at all, Christian. I never really was. You know, and I mean, the house that we had wasn't really, I don't want to call it in town because we weren't in town. We were just on the very outskirts of where Erie goes into Mill Creek, and there's a lot of wooded area there. We had woods all the way, you know, 3 block long, 2 block wide, 3, 4 block long, right behind the house. So we spent a lot of time in the woods and a lot of time in ponds and creeks, and you know, we say creeks here in Pennsylvania, right, Trace? Um, or cricks, actually. We say cricks. But yeah, so I spent a lot of time with animals and salamanders, and you know, the walking sticks and praying mantises and stuff, like snakes all over the place, turtles. We had everything when I was a kid. So yeah, I work in town. Where my plant is, it's in the middle of the east side of town, which is not the best area in Erie. You know, so I have to drive through some, I don't really want to call them really really rough areas, but you know, rougher now than they used to be. And there's like sirens going off all the time. It's a little bit more mellow so far. You know, since fall, actually, the amount of emergency calls went down a lot. But you know, we have a lot of drug traffic here right now because of the lake, and you know, we've had some, I don't want to say displaced, but replaced gang members from Chicago and Detroit that have been fighting over this area for a while now, and just too many people are dying. It's just it's sickening to think about. But yeah, I could never keep my kids. I don't know that my kids will ever be able to live in the city. It's not in any one of the three of them. Haley maybe might be able to adjust, but Eric and Alex are not country boys like farm country boys, but they are country boys. They are very simplistic kids that don't need a lot, and I mean, I'm glad that that's the way that they turned out to be. You know, they're not selfish. They're not. I mean, Haley's Haley. She can be a little bit selfish sometimes, but for the most part, they're good kids. So I like it out here. It's quiet. I don't have a lot of problems. Yeah, you know what? We don't say wash up here in the cool part of Pennsylvania. That's down in Pittsburgh, but we say some weird things. You know, like we have a lot of things in Pennsylvania you don't see a lot of other places, right? Like I know that people have fried bologna sandwiches, but that was a big thing when I was a kid. My mom used to make fried bologna sandwiches and scrambled egg sandwiches and weird things. Smith's hot dogs over here is huge. Um, but because we're a Commonwealth and you know, a Dutch state, really, um, we have some weird stuff here in this state. Now, and I mean, and I guess we really can't expect that it would be, right. I mean, it's kind of hard for a city to progress or degress as you age. Everything changes. We change. You know, surroundings change. You'd like things to stay the same, but they don't. I mean, all my really really good friends have all moved away from here. They don't live here anymore. So, you know, my spiders are my friends. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because cities and boroughs, um, that's a Dutch thing, right? That's more of the where they come from, the Amish area. You know, that's what they called the over in where Germany and Dutch and or Holland and places like that where the Amish came from. Hi, Nuno. How are you? Yeah. So that's. I mean, I know Nuno didn't hear any of the stuff that I talked about before, but we're gonna change things up just a little bit. Oh yeah, goulash. Yeah. Definitely goulash. I mean, what I think is goulash and my wife thinks is goulash is two completely different things because I'm Italian, she's German, so there's a lot more stuff in her goulash than there is in mine. Mine's basically just meat and actually noodles and spaghetti sauce. That's goulash to me because that's what I grew up with. But kibasi, yeah, I love kibasi. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff here. I'm sure that's every state's got their own crazy little things, but I mean, I always wanted to move away from Pennsylvania. I didn't want to stay here. I really didn't. I wanted to move away a long time ago. Um, I wanted to live in North Carolina. That's where I wanted to go when I was younger, but never really transitioned or never came about. I had opportunities to go, but it just never happened. So Nuno, what we're gonna do, we're gonna change up things here a little bit. We're gonna do less uploads. I think I upload too much, so I'm not getting the views that I like. I'm not getting the traffic that I like. So based on what I'm hearing and understanding, that if you lessen the amount of videos that you upload, it'll increase the odds that YouTube will recommend you more, and the algorithm will change in your favor. You'll get more views, get more subscribers, and makes things a little bit more, not a little bit more easier, but easier for me. We'll do a selective schedule. I'm thinking Tuesdays and Saturdays would be what I'm thinking. I don't want to piggyback like Petco, but there's so many channels that just do 2 days, but I think Tuesdays and Saturdays would be good because Saturdays would be a bigger video because I have extra time to film, and then Tuesdays would be a smaller video, and we'll do a myriad of things like 2 updates a month, and we'll do at least one big feeding video a month, maybe do some small clips here or there, strewn throughout, but and we're going to change what we do here as far as what I'm keeping. We're going to get more into African species and chelobrachys. I'm thinking about branching out into Canthoscurias a little bit more. We'll have to see, but definitely Sericopelma. I think I can get my size out of Sericopelmas pretty, what I want to, 6, 7 inch, 8 inch spiders. I think I can get out of Sericopelmas more to my liking. Nandus are another possibility, but Ephebopus definitely. So Pteranachilus, Harpactyrus, Ceratojaurus, chelobrachys. I'm kind of more specialized in those, but still have some other odds and ends, of course, my salmos and some other stuff that I got going on. But that's kind of what's happening. It's getting hot in here again. So I think the vaporizer or humidifier has been helping the room, helping me at least at night, because last couple nights I slept really well. And I cool the room down because I've been closing the vent almost all the way. So it gets cooler in here. So we're, around 68 to 72, 73 at night with that vaporizer running. I have my Salmopaeus pulcher female that I do believe is gravid right next to the humidifier and right above where the heat is to try and keep her warm. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring her middle of next week. We're going to bring her back over here where it's a little bit cooler. We're going to put her back in the corner and cover her up and leave her there for about a week, and then we're going to bring her out and see if hopefully that'll induce her to drop an egg sac. Yeah, I like listening to Tom's stuff too. I don't get a chance to listen to his podcast as much as I'd like to because I got so much other stuff going on. But I will throw one on if I'm like doing I want to just feed. And this is a part about, if you don't have a YouTube channel, I don't know who all's on here in the background here. There's a couple of you in the background, and it may be people that have channels just kind of wanting to listen to what I have to say. But if you don't have a YouTube channel, you kind of don't understand. I mean, you feed your tarantulas, you watch them, you do whatever, you water them and take some pictures. But when you have a channel, you almost feel like you're obligated to film every time you bring one down, and it burns you out every now and then. So you kind of have to stop, And when I feel that, I just stop. I put the camera away. Well, at least I put I'm not hitting the video button. I like to take pictures. Those are the days that you'll see a lot of pictures that you'll see uploaded on Instagram. I like to do off the side feeding, where I'm just going to feed stuff and just watch them and have fun, because you lose that sometimes as a YouTuber. And I think a lot of people could probably, if there were more people here that did YouTube videos, they could probably say the same exact thing, that they find themselves constantly wanting to film and everything that they do, and they stop. They forget to enjoy their collection, and they forget to remember what started it for them and what they're actually doing, and it became more about YouTube. And that's why I said last year I was just so at the end of my wits. The end of the year, I didn't want to do it anymore, because I lost the fun in what I was doing. And I mean, I put some stuff on the YouTube Tarantula community about, I just don't want to do this anymore, and it's just not worth it, because I'm not getting the views. And I put so much effort and time into it, and so many people there said, no, you can't go, because there's only a few channels that are like yours. Tom, of course, is one, and I think Gar from Predator Prey Online is another. Bird Spider CH is really good about stuff that he does, and Bugs and stuff is good, but you're seeing stuff out in the wild. You're not getting a ton of keeping care and stuff like that. So I made a vow that I would see this year through, 2019, and hopefully things change, so that at the end of 2019 I want to come back in 2020. We'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot more people sharing my videos on Facebook and their own page, and some other things. I'm going to talk to Pelt Friction about something. Maybe that'll help a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I've been exposing myself on Instagram and my Facebook page, and I'll link my videos on a couple different tarantula groups. I just don't see the traffic that I thought I would, and it's, you take all the effort to copy all your links and put them all down. You go to all these different things. I mean, one group's got 27,000, the other group's got 7.8 thousand, the other group's got 27,000, 28,000, and then the one group's got, like 3 or 3,500 people. And I put a video on there, and I'm not seeing any new subscribers. I'm not seeing a bunch of different views, and I'm like, what is it, me? What am I doing that people don't like? But so I kind of questioned myself a lot. Yeah, Christian, to be honest with you, you're the exception to a lot of people, because a lot of people just want to see feedings, and that's it. They don't really care about learning anything. But the people that do want to learn, and I think that's why I really have a hard time saying that I would walk away from this, because I would feel like I'm doing that part of the YouTube community a big disservice by walking away, because of because of how things are done. I mean, I want to do another tarantula spotlight video, and we're going to do that on the Lasiodorides polycuspalitis, only because not a lot of people have them. So it'll give you a view of something that's different, and I want to start doing some different intros for my videos, and some outros for the videos. I've been watching a lot of people, what they have. I watched Tom Moran's the other day. I watched Dave Scott's. I actually watched Shanti's intro and outro that she does. She's doing different things with her channel too, which is really exciting. But she's going to be another one that you're going to start wanting to watch for information, because she's going to start bringing more of an educational aspect to her channel as well. There aren't. I mean, honestly, if you use Bird Spider CH and Bugs and Stuff, and then you take Predator Prey Online, myself, and Tom Moran, I think those are the 5 big channels that you're going to see more information on. There isn't a woman that's doing it yet, so Shanti's going to break through, I think, and I think it's really, really cool. So if you haven't subscribed from her, Christian, go check her out. It's Tarantulas with Shanti, SCHANTI, SHANTI. I think she's going to progress into that part where she's able to give the information like it's second hand, or first hand, like I mean, she's done it. She just did a nice video on the differences between tarantulas and true spiders. So check out her. I think she'll be another one that you can add to that list. And I wanted to emulate more of what Tom does. When he does his like species spotlights, and he'll do, it gets to a point in the video where of course he does voiceovers for the whole thing, and I have yet to do that, so I have to practice doing a voiceover before I really get into doing things like he does. But doing a voiceover over a video and then, having information, down the side. I don't have that ability. I could do it in a text form where it's written and then, it'll come up in a clip and it'll stay there so people can read it. And then, of course, I can keep it for however long I want and then make advantage. But I'm learning how to do some of that stuff. So I think you'll see more of that stuff a little bit, more temperature ranges. And even though it's hard I always cringe when people do humidity and temperatures when they give recommendations, because I'm going to give recommendations based on what I do here because this is where I live. And my recommendations for what I do here may not work for somebody in a different part of the even the state or the country or the world. So, um, you kind of have to ballpark it, especially humidity. Temperature is one thing because you can control temperature and you can control humidity for the most part. But when you have a group of tarantulas that you're not really specializing in, I mean, if this room was full of vicularia, we would probably have a more humid room with more airflow. I would have a ceiling fan. I would make sure that we have a constant airflow for a bunch of avicularias in here. But because of what I have, you know, I'm perfectly fine with what I do. I just don't like the way that I stack these because I don't get a lot of flow and air, and that kind of bothers me. But they all seem to be doing okay. So, I mean, tarantulas really don't need the air exchange that people think they do, as much as they think they do. Oh, did she send a video? Did she get those two bred? I'm hoping that she does. I really do. How you doing, Paranormal? Do you have a channel? I'm assuming that you do. If you do, let me know so I can go subscribe. I'm trying to subscribe to people that come here and comment, so I can check other people out and support other people that support me. And I do have some odd stuff, don't I? And that was kind of my draw in the beginning. The beginning of last year into spring and early summer of last year, that was kind of things that I wanted to do, is find things that weren't so, out there. And it started when I ordered something from Tom Patterson, and to be honest with you, I don't even remember what the tarantula was that I ordered from. Oh, it was the Augustophila season Dommy. I got an Augustophila season Dommy from him, not the one that I have here, but the one I had before. And he sent a couple freebies, a couple huntsman spiders, which didn't make it. They were small, and he said flat out, he's like, if they don't make it, don't get discouraged, because most of them die. They're really hard to keep, and those little tiny slings, and I struggled with them. I had a Rapodra, I think Lunula. He sent me a couple of those, and then he sent me a Chaetopelma olivation, and I didn't know anything about it. So I did some minor research. There's not a lot of out there for that spider, and it was kind of cool that he sent it to me, because not a lot of people here in the United States have them. And once I started showing it, a lot of people were trying to buy it off me, and I was like, no, I can't do that, because I want to be one of the only ones that have them. Well, I don't ever see it. I never see it hardly at all. And that's one of the ones that I'm going to sell, but that's going to be a high dollar spider, only because it's not something I want to work with. There's not a ton of them here, so I mean they're coming, because I think Fear Not Tarantulas, they got slings or they bred them or whatever they did, but there'll be more coming. But I think it's kind of cool having those oddball ones. What's the oddest one that you have, or the most uncommon that you have, Paranormal? How you doing, Kat? Yeah, I was just talking about some of the stuff that I talked to you about earlier. The way I want to change some things, and some of the recommendations you gave, and Andy did, and a couple other people, and how I want to change the collection up a little bit and gear it more towards some of the genera I want to work with, and shy away from some of the other ones just to have them. Beach Dairy, that you don't find those every day, that's for sure. No, I don't want a hamster. We've had them. I'll tell you a story. When Alex was, I want to say, Kayla's my oldest niece, and she's going to be 29. So I want to say when she was roughly, Alex is going to be 21. Oh my God. So I think she was having like her 14th or 15th birthday party, a sleepover, and we were doing it at the house that we had actually. So Alex would have been 4 or 5 years old, and we bought him. I can't remember like they're called like the fuzzy bear hamsters or whatever they are. So we went and we got one for him, and it lived like 3 weeks and it died. So I went and got a new one for him, and that was back. You know the movie. Maybe one of you guys know. It's a Disney movie. Is where the Native American guy turns into a bear or something like that, or mom turns into a bear, whatever it was. Um, I think that the kid's name was Coda, or the bear's name was Coda. So we got this thing and we named it Coda, and we had it for a little over a year. Well, it's about a week before Kayla's birthday party, and Jack, my brother-in-law, was redoing their house, so they couldn't have the sleepover there. And the hamster got out, and we didn't know where it was. Well, we come home one day, and the house started to smell bad. And we knew the hamster died. We just didn't know where. What ended up happening is it got into the heating vent, so it crawled through the floor in the heating vent and got down in the furnace and died in the furnace. So we had to open up the furnace, take the blower motor out, reach down inside there, and get this thing out of there. And the house smelled terrible. We had to air it out for a day before we could have all those girls come over. But it was, yeah, no more hamsters. We've had hamsters, we've had gerbils, no more hamsters. Brother Bear, that's the movie, yes. Yeah, I missed a really good takedown of my Ediothelomira the other day. I think I have two, and the one that Amy sent me, I think is a female, because it should have matured by now. And the one that I got from Vlad, I'm not really quite sure yet on that one. Yeah, they don't live long, and you know, I feel bad like with Fiona, because you don't know how long they're gonna live, and then boom, they're gone. And how do you explain it to little kids? It's so hard. We went through all that. It was tough. I think we have a bunny that we had. Um, Let me see, what else do we have buried in the backyard here? Probably a hamster, a couple gerbils, a frog. I'm sure there's a couple other things that we buried back here behind the shed, but oh, of course, Haley's rats that passed away. Yeah, the lifespan's tough, and that's what I was reading about that crab too, that vampire crab. They don't live very long, and I don't know how old this one is already because it's pretty much full grown. So I may not have it very long. That's the bad part about those things. But it seemed to be more active yesterday than it was today, or the day before. It was actually out of the water, crawling around. Still hasn't got up to land yet, but it was crawling around the stuff that was in the water. And it's amazing how easy they crawl up stuff. You know, I mean, they crawled right up. He crawled right up on that rock, and no any problems. But no, definitely no fuzzy little animals here anymore. Yeah. Anyway, the feeding video that I missed, because I thought I had the camera rolling when I was doing something else, and I brought the mirror down. It's like I'm just going to keep it rolling, and I apparently turned it off after I was filming whatever I filmed. And this, since I moved it to the new enclosure, this one's made the actual trapdoor where it didn't before. This actually has, it found a leaf, and the leaf is the trapdoor. It's really cool, and I thought it was over in one corner, and it was actually over in the other, and kind of surprised me when the thing. And then I was looking at the camera. I was like, did I get that? And it wasn't even on. I didn't have that when I was a kid because we didn't have a lot of pets. I mean, I killed a lot of spider, or a lot of walking sticks and snakes and turtles and stuff like that, because I didn't know how to keep them, back in the day, and trying to get some of those things to eat. We were just, here, eat this worm, snake, and the snake didn't eat worms. But yeah, we only had a couple dogs. We never had a cat. We had, in fact, I think two dogs my lifetime there, both Chihuahuas, Chico and then Coco. That was really it. I didn't really have a lot of pets when I was growing up. I have the G grossa. Is the O Orphanicus, or is that Ornithoctonus or Ornithoctonae, species Cebu. A Homeooma oriolenale, that'd be what the old Euathlus species yellow, right? H. dictator is another one that's on my list. Harpactira dictator, it's another one that's on my list that may be coming from palp friction. Again, I don't know what they're sending me. It's not happening this week because of our crappy temperatures, as Tracy can attest to. We're going to be in shit temperatures all week, so I'm hoping maybe the week after. I feel bad for palp because they're so far behind in their Christmas orders, and then they got hit with this big, huge, lousy temperature crap. So they're going to be another week behind. So who knows when the new stuff's going to be coming. Yeah, I wasn't allowed to have any of that stuff. My dad didn't want any of that stuff in the house, so I never really had it. I think that's kind of why we had so many pets here when the kids were young, because, you know, I didn't get a chance to have them when I was young, although, you know, Lynn did. I got to check something real quick here. I don't know if... Okay. I don't know if that was my daughter sending me a text. She should have been out of work by now. I heard the phone ring, but I couldn't get out of here in time to go get it anyway. Orphan egg test, okay. So I've had the, of course, Filipinus, and then I had the Panay Blue. Panay Blue, she matured really, really quick, actually in 2 years, because they're smaller, of course. They're only about 3 inch. She matured in 2 years. I was really, really shocked, because for about a year I didn't see her. But I mean, I wanted to work more in that, but I really like Chelobrachys much more, so that's going to be my main Asian genus to work with, is Chelobrachys. See you later, cat. Yeah, I've gone long times. I mean, again, when I was little, we didn't have we didn't have a dog. We didn't have a dog till, I mean, my dad didn't want one, just didn't want one. And it was our neighbors that had, you know, they had a Chihuahua that was apparently bred with a miniature Italian Greyhound or something like that. I mean, the little guy was just little, and so our dog looked like a Greyhound, the form, but he was, you know, small like a Chihuahua, not real small. But it took a long time to talk my dad into that, and I think Chico lived about 13 or 14 years. I miss that dog every day. He was my buddy. He slept with me every single night underneath the covers. He was my guardian. I almost bought ducks last year at Tractor Supply. Had to go up there for something, you know, right before Easter, when they have all their ducks and their chicks, and they had those little tiny baby ducks, and I was like, I just want one that, you know, I mean, if they can do it on Friends and the duck can walk around the house, I could do it here. But my wife reminded me that our dog probably wouldn't have let that duck live very long. We get wrens every year that build nests in the corner, in one of the two corners of our deck, and because we have a covered deck. And last year, or the year before last year, my wife and son, they were taking pictures of the progress of the little babies, and you know, it's up in the corner, so you got to kind of get your phone up there. You can't really see them, but and Lynn was paying attention to you know, when they were getting ready to fly, and she saw them out, and she brought the dog out there with her, put her on her runner, and the one little baby, you know, took off and flew. The other one took off and flew, and Bailey jumped right out of the air and snatched it and killed it. I mean, my wife was livid, but she's a dog. I mean, you know, I mean, I wasn't happy about it, but you know, what can you do? When I lived by myself, after I was divorced the first time and then re-separated from my first wife, I had an apartment with, because I had custody of my oldest son. Kyle will be 29. Yeah, he'll be 29 this year. 29. Yeah, 29. He was born in 1990. I had a small little apartment that was one big bedroom, and then it was like a kitchen slash little tiny living room, which we really didn't have anything in the living room. It was more of a kitchen. and then a bathroom. It's just a little studio apartment for him and I. But I had three 55-gallon aquariums in there. One that had four piranha that I got as little tiny babies. When I got rid of them, they were like that long. I had two snakeheads, which you can't have anymore, and those things were eating so much. I mean, I always said that the first 3 hours of every week that I worked was just to pay for the food for those two snakeheads. And then I had a couple Oscar fish. I love the predatory fish. I really enjoyed them. But I got rid of everything except for the piranhas. And then when Lynn and I started dating, we had the piranhas in the apartment that we got, and they just got to be, we couldn't afford to actually feed them because of how much they actually ate. So we traded them in to Buzz and Bees here in Erie. Actually, from Payton's Tarantulas works at Buzz and Bees. We traded them in for store credit, and I don't even remember what we ended up getting in the end, but we got mice. We ended up with mice. I don't like mice. But I was always scared of mice. I always had a fear of mice when I was smaller. I didn't mind bats, but mice and rats I didn't like them, and moles and shrews. So I wanted to get over that, and Lynn, we were out to dinner, Lynn and I, for my birthday, and she goes, let's go buy some mice and get you over this. So we went and bought two mice, and you go to the pet store and like, okay, they're both males, right? We're both females. We don't want one or the other. Well, yeah, they were both females that we got. Both of them were already knocked up. So within weeks, we had more. So we ended up having a 55-gallon aquarium with mice after mice. We couldn't separate them fast enough to keep them from reproducing. And what happens with mice when they keep reproducing with each other, they end up with cancerous tumors all over them, and it just got bad. So we finally gave away the last handful of them, and that was it. We were done. We had our dogs. I want to live on a farm, not live on a farm that you actually farm the land, but just have animals, so I could have goats and sheep and pigs, and I love little pigs, stuff like that. And my daughter is infatuated with cows. Yeah, it's tough when you lose a pet you've had for a long time. I'm sorry that happened. I mean, it's part of owning a pet, and we all know it when we get them. But Linda and I, we had a chow shepherd mix. So it looked like a shepherd, but it was black like a chow. It didn't have the black tongue, but acted like a chow sometimes. Um, he needed a companion. He was just he needed somebody, another buddy when we left. So we ended up getting a yellow / white lab, full bloodlines, and we love that dog. That dog, there's no way in God's green earth I can ever have a dog as good as that dog again. He would let the twins climb up on the couch and jump right on him. He wouldn't even move. But we think that he got bit by a tick, and a year later he got sick. He was 11, so we just kind of attribute it to old age. But after we doing some research, we actually think he might have had Lyme disease. And when we put him down, it was the hardest thing I ever did. I mean, it wasn't as hard as doing the eulogy for my grandmother's funeral or doing it for my grandfather's funeral, but it was the hardest decision I ever had to make. And taking him there, and they don't let you go in because we took him to the Humane Society because we didn't have the money to take him to a vet, pay 3 times as much to have him put down. But you kind of get him out of the car and you put him on the leash, and he walked away and turned around, looked at us, and I was done. And they took him in. I was done. The rest of the day, it's all I could think about was him turning around like that, saying, I really wished I could have been in there with him anyway. I think I only have one Balfouri left, Christian, and I think I'm going to sell her. I want to confirm her as a female. I'm just not. They just don't do it for me. They're beautiful. It's just they're not like the other baboons to me. They're just a little bit different. But again, I may keep her. I don't know. I still have to decide on her. That was one of the ones that I was up in the air about. But they are kind of pretty. I was never afraid of spiders or snakes. I mean, you have that everyone has a healthy fear of things like that anyway. You know, you just don't want to put your hands on them. But I didn't mind if they crawled on me, or I wouldn't mind bending over and picking up a snake. Even if it bit me, it don't really hurt. You know, it just catches you off guard. But I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do because Trey Beck, if you guys watch Trey, the reptile or Trey Beck reptile junkie, he's got a ball python that he wants to give me, and you know, I sent him some spiders and some assassin bugs in the past, and you know, didn't ask anything for him. I think he just paid for shipping for the 2 times that they went, or 3 times they went down there. But he's always wanted to do something back, and I've always wanted a snake, but we're not supposed to have them here. And I'm worried about bringing one in and then, breaking our lease and getting in trouble for that because I might lose all my spiders on top of that. So I'm still debating that. But I've always wanted to have snake, a small ball python I could raise from, a foot long and hold all the time and just hang out with. But Lynn's like, half of the stuff that you have here has got to go before you can even consider a snake. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to feel bad because I know how bad he wants to get it to me. I just don't know it's going to be able to work. We had a bunny for 2 years, and the thing drove my wife crazy. Just so because we'd let it run around. Because we were in between dogs, I think, at that time, or we just had Hunter, our lab, and he didn't really care about the bunny. So the bunny would run around for a little while, but then we would put it back. He would go crazy because he didn't want to be in there anymore because he got freedom, and it would just drive Lynn nuts. And we'd be in here in the bedroom watching TV, and that rabbit was just going crazy in the other room in its metal cage, and I was like, I just can't do this. But I don't know. Again, it wasn't long after that the rabbit just died, from old age. But I'm not sure. Paranormal. I'm going to be very, very selective of what I get from here on out, and I'm just not sure that that's, if the opportunity present itself, maybe. I think if I end up with stuff that I didn't say before, like the Epiphocus and the Caranachilus and Ceratojaris and Sericopelma, Brachypelma, I don't know that I'll go outside of those realms very much to get stuff. Maybe some dwarf species that don't take up a lot of room. I don't mind that. But I don't want to get anything that, it's going to cost me room, because there's still stuff I want to keep, like one of my Homoioma species blues I'm keeping. Of course, my Camphiscurria geniculata, musculosa, those ones are staying here, and I think the musculosa is going to be male. So there are some stuff that are going to stay here. I just don't know that I want to bring in a bunch of new stuff. I think I just let other people take the glory on some of that stuff and be done with it. I rehoused my communal of 5, and if you do it, like if you watch my videos that I've showed you how to do that, where you just kind of keep the cover, or you get another plastic cover that would go over whatever you have them in with a bunch of holes in it, and then you put a vial inside the enclosure, and you just get one in the vial and then close it and pull it out, and you just keep doing that. It's actually not that hard to do. It's if you try to rehouse them or capture them with the top off, yeah, you're gonna have all kinds of problems. You're gonna need a couple people to do it with. Now, I'm not sure, Christian, because again, they were from 3 were together, came together, and then the other 2 were solo, but they were small, and one was smaller than the other 4, and the other one that was solo was pretty much the same size as those. And I don't think for a second the 2 that were by themselves are the 2 that survived. I think those are the 2 that were ended up dying, because these 2 males mailed out at the same time, or matured at the same time within a couple months of each other. And then the other one is about the same size as what the males would be. So she's probably, I'm pretty sure she's a female, so she's probably 2 molts from maturing into a breedable female. So I don't know. I appreciate that you feel bad, but I don't. And if that sounds weird, It's not something that was huge for me, you know, doing the communal. It just happened to fall in my lap. I only bought one of them. The other four were given to me, so. So I'm gonna end this here in a couple minutes because everyone's home now. I don't want to disturb anybody's whatever plans they have for the night. So I'll give everybody a quick chance to say their goodbyes, and we'll end this. We'll do another one of these sometime next week. I enjoy doing this. I'd like to get more people, so I'll have to start spreading the word. Maybe I'll have to pick a day when I want to do it and a time, and then promote it before. But yeah, 750. I want to try and rehouse one spider tonight if I can. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to or not. I'm thinking about it. But if you saw it, you remember this here enclosure with the Stratojaris Mariodenalis in it. I am thinking about trying an arboreal setup with this, and maybe putting my Simulpaeus Victoria in it, but I'm not really quite sure it's tall enough. I want her to be in something special, so we'll have to see. I don't know, but there is another spider I want to move into one of these, and I can't remember who it is. It'll come to me, but it's somebody in one of the softball enclosures up there. Yeah, I appreciate you coming in, Christian. So yeah, I'm gonna head out too. So. Oh, Ian, I'm just getting ready to check out, but I am doing okay. And by the way, I was already subscribed to your channel. I can't believe you're still awake. All the other UK, well, Christian's still here. He's in Denmark, but Peter Webster was in here. Andy was in here a little bit earlier. Yeah, they're probably going to want to play the game, so... Eric and his friend are over. I'm sure they're going to want to go online. I'm going to do another one next week, Ian, and I'll pick a day and a time, and I'll announce it so that, you know, if you can get in, you can get in. At least you know. I feel bad that you just jumped in at the end here, but yeah, I'm going to head out. It's getting warm in here, and I want to 3 more days. What?
Do you want to laugh in?
Yeah, I'm almost done.
I just want to tell you about I had a spicy enchilada one. That's all I can smell on my body. It's so bad. I hate that one. Is she okay in here?
Yeah, she's fine in here. Did you do the scorpion blood?
They didn't have any.
No.
I would have tried it just to like try it.
I ate it last year. It didn't do anything to me.
You guys were there, and they came to play, man.
Yeah.
They were the best one.
Really?
They came to play, man.
We're talking about the wing thing. You guys are live, by the way.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Blackjack that one last year.
Awful.
Terrible.
It's like the things like the flavoring wasn't bad. Just the wing itself was not good.
Oh, I thought the flavoring was good, but it was so much in it.
Over flavored.
Thick sauce, and it was just too much. And then what was the other one? The Buffalo Wild Wings. I got this dinky itty bitty little wing. I'm like, you don't serve that at a wing fest. And it was dry. It was supposed to be a honey barbecue. It was completely dry. I'm like, this isn't even...
Like,
I like the dry rub ones anyway.
Yours had like 8 different kinds of wings.
Yeah.
Buffalo Wild Wings had 4.
They have some good wings. I mean, they have some good flavors over there.
Good.
They were good.
I tried this one. It was like was that taco cluster taco or something like that?
Yeah.
It had like those spicy like hot sauce in it. But it tasted like a taco.
Hmm.
It was pretty good.
Everybody can see you in your underwear, by the way.
That's true. That's funny.
I can't. The camera's facing me.
Dang it.
All right. Well, I guess he's not going online. So if you want to stick in for a little while, it's up to you. We'll see if anybody wants to hang around. I can't remember. I went and checked out, see if I was subscribed to you, Ian, and I was. So then I watched a video, and I don't remember which one it was because I watched like 9 videos from newer channels that were in Fatal Fangs that I didn't get a chance to watch, and everything's running together. But yeah, so again, I appreciate everybody hanging in, and I don't know how long we've been on here, for a while again, but so yeah, so when you start seeing some of these changes, you guys won't be surprised, and I'm kind of interested to see how this year is going to turn out. I think by mid-year you're really going to see all the changes take effect, and um, what we're keeping everything in, and I want to get some more of these basketball cubes. Problem is space. I'd like to have my or African species in these basketball cubes. I like these, and I think there's more enough room, and they're high enough that there's enough substrate depth that they can dig, and I think they're going to look nice for the things like the Chordatus and the Marinus and some of the other things. So, but the bigger the enclosures get, the more room they take up on the little amount of space that I have here. So my goal, I think, is to get rid of this nightstand behind me and replace it with a big L-shaped shelving unit here in the corner, and then move this shelf to someplace else in the room. I don't know who else left, but I'm going to say goodbye because, yeah, if you're going to stay, Trace, I'll stay for a little bit longer. Oh, you're going to watch the video? So, Ian, if you're still here, if you want to hang out, we can hang out a little bit longer. But if it's just a couple of us, I'm going to let everybody go, and then... Yeah, they're kind of nice. I mean, they're almost like a 12 by 12 by 12, but they're not. I think they're more like maybe it's 10 by 10 by 10. I'd have to measure it for sure, but I mean, seriously, I don't think African species get, there's not any of them that get huge enough that need, a ton of room. I mean, I'm gonna try some in these, and I'm gonna try some in just some plastic. You guys call them rubs, right? We call them tubs or whatever, but some Sterilite containers, or like some of the things that are up top there, those big ones right there. I'd like to try a Pteranachilus marinus in one of those, see how it does with lower depth and more stuff to just build a web. Yeah, you see them every now and then on Facebook. I think Shanti from Transfer Shanti put one together too. Can't remember what spider she put in it, but I mean, I think they're big enough for an adult GBB and a handful of other things. So, yeah, I'm still gonna stay for a little bit. Yeah, the really useful boxes. I know we have that. They're here. Actually, I have my super worms are in the one of two of the really useful boxes I have, and we used to use the really tiny ones. Like if you watch Tarantula Haven, he loves those little things, so he's got a ton of those. I always wondered. I can't remember who I asked because I kept seeing rub. I was like, why do they call them rubs and not tubs? I didn't understand it. I mean, there's always different things that are set over there that aren't set over here, and vice versa. But when somebody did that exact same thing as put rub, and it's an equal, really useful box, it didn't even hit me right away until I was like, oh, yeah, it does make sense then. I think they're great, if you're stacking stuff. My problem is when I started doing the videos, I wanted to be able to film through the sides, because you get some really great shots through the sides of enclosures, the acrylics, and some of my best clips, the clip that I used for this last round before I dropped out of Fatal Fangs, that was done through the enclosure side. That was through the plastic clip, and you didn't even know. If you get the camera and the lighting right, that's what I like about these acrylics, especially for videoing. If I never had a YouTube channel, I don't know that I would go to this extreme, to be honest with you. I mean, I like being able to see them, but I think I would have went cheap and more stackable. And like the one here that we have the crab in, this one, the shoebox size. It's a pretty good enclosure for a nice juvenile, or a 3-inch or 3.5-inch spider would be perfectly fine in something like that. It all depends on how you want to set them up, deep substrate, or you know, a lot of stuff. I don't. You didn't get a chance to see this, so I'll put it up there for you. Ian, this is the new. This is the basketball cube. This is for my Ornithoctinae species prison de abuelas. She hasn't webbed anything up yet, but I really did kill with the plants, the fake plants here, and then I think this is a Bassani wood, or it's Malaysian, maybe Malaysian Bassani wood. Picked that piece up on sale for $7. It's really cool. I set this up last night. There's a big huge water dish for her, and that's where she's hanging out, behind the water dish. I wanted to web up like my other one did. I was going to bring her down so everybody could see that, but I want her to do webbing because I call them the Asian GBBs. That's generally how they act. They web all over the place, and then they have their little spot. But she hasn't dug, and neither has my other one. So I kind of love these ones because, again, these aren't very popular in the hobby. They're not around. They're kind of rare, and I have 2 females, and that's, you know, they're basically, it's a $350 spider here, you know, in the States, roughly in that area. So it's kind of cool having something that expensive and that rare here. Hoping to find some males to breed her with. I'd love to breed her, not myself, but, you know, a male spider. Here, is that what you're talking about? These ones that you say in the back left. I can't. This would be my back left, but maybe you're seeing it over there, I guess. These white lids. This one. There's this one here. Let me bring it down. Hopefully I do this without dropping spiders. And I'll let you, Paranormal, I'll let you figure out which white lid you're talking about, because there's the ones that I showed you, and then there's this one. Is this the one you mean? If this is the one you mean, I got this at a place called the Christmas Tree Store. It's a little store that has just odds and ends and a lot of Christmas ornament stuff. It's all through the year. You know, they have different holiday stuff, but yeah, it's got this lip. We got these. I think it's a Rubbermaid. So it was this style. They only had one, so I can only get one. And they're the same company that makes these. And I bought these at the same place. So I haven't been back there in a long time, so I probably ought to pop in there and see what they have. If they have more of the, oh, it's Glad. That's who made these, Glad, G-L-A-D, Glad. Same place makes garbage bags. These are nice. Spider in here needs to be moved. This is my Brachypelma calllenbergi, so this one's ready to move out of this, and then I have something I want to put in here. These are great for, like this one here. That's my female Neoholthaliense, adult. So, I mean, these are like a 5 by 5 by 5 roughly. And she's a little over 2.5 inches, so it's perfect. You can see what she's done. Maybe you can't, I don't know. I'm going to turn the light on and see how it works, but you can see her webbing. She's done some of the best webbing that I have, and thick. Her webbing is very thick. It's almost like, I can't even tell you, describe it. It's so hard. You know, the webbing is so intricate and so hard. Let's take the top off. Yeah, I mean, it's like you could jump up and down on there and it wouldn't break. I mean, it's like really hard and thick. And I've had this girl from, I think she came from Fear Not Tarantulas. I got her as a freebie from them. I think she was about 1.25 inches when she came in, and I was really super happy when she was when I found out she was female, and then I ended up with a mature male too. Oh, here's one of my Harpactira, or Pteranachilus there. Again, I can't see how, you guys can see him right there, right? This one is, I think this one's a Tete, mislabeled as my Mozambique. I think this is the one that I mislabeled. I love these little guys. So, yeah, so if that's the one that you're talking about there, Paranormal, that's where I got from. It's called a place called Christmas Tree Store. I saw the ad for your, or the thing for your video, the mature males. I was going to check that out later on. If I don't see it today, I'll watch it tomorrow when I have some downtime at work. But I did want to check out that video, Ian. That looks pretty cool. Yeah, you know, H Max. I've had a few. I've sold them. Most of them I sold, and one died. The last one I got, I was like, I'm gonna raise this one till the end, and of course that one passed away. The other ones I all sold or gave away. Yes, that's where it came from. Then Paranormal, it came from the Christmas tree store. They only had one. I wanted to get a couple of them, and that's the only one that they had. I think that the ones with the red lids were like $3.99. The one with the white lid was like $6.99, maybe something like that. But I'll have to go back there. Maybe I'll stop there after work tomorrow and see if they. It's been I've had that enclosure for a couple of years, so I don't know if they still have stuff like that there or not. But it's a pretty cool little store. I enjoyed it. It's nice to get some stuff. We bought some Christmas gifts in there every now and then, and get some decorations and stuff in there. But you find some weird things. You know, they have off-brand food items and different kitchen stuff. So I was really happy when I saw those. Were the first real acrylic enclosures I found before I started getting the um, ones from Hobby Lobby. Yeah, Insei. Yeah, it's Neoholotheli Insei. Goldie. Neoholotheli Insei. They used to be Holotheli, and there was something in their taxonomy that didn't go with the rest of the Holotheli genus, so they moved them out and made them Neo-Holotheli, which of course Neo means new, so they just kind of made it, the genus name is really New Holotheli Insei. And she is an olive. I don't have any of the golds, I never have, I just had olives. And those two right there are two, these two right there. Those two are the babies. Well, not her babies, but I have two babies. My Armenia's out. One of my Armenia's going to molt, and I have a funny feeling she's going to pack on some size on this one. Um, so she may need a new home. I may have to go back to those 1 gallon mainstays, which I really, really don't like, but I may have to go back to those for some of these arboreals that are going to get a little bit bigger. T. gigas, there's actually P. gigas now. Oh, you mean T. gigas? Yeah, T. gigas would have been Tapaniquinius, right, Ian? That they're actually Pseudoclamaris now, so it'd be P. gigas. No, I've killed every single one that I've had. That for some odd reason I cannot keep those alive. How you doing, Shani? I don't know why I can't keep them alive. I just one of those species I just couldn't do it with. It must be the gigas, because I've had a handful of the Hysterocrates. Gigas has small slings too, and I couldn't get those ones to get very far into growth either. But I've had 5 T. gigas or P. gigases now, and not one of them have made it past 2 inches. And they lived right next door to my avicularias. They were kept the same as avicularias, and I just struggle with them. Will you see your buddy, yeah, John, when you go there, Shani? I watched his video the other day. He mentioned you about your mature male avicularia. I wish I could help you, Ian, on how to keep it, but they were originally part of the Avicularinae subfamily, but they were moved out of the Avicularinae subfamily into the now Salmopaeanae subfamily, and then of course the genus was switched from Tapaniquinius to Pseudoclamaris for just a gigas. So I would think more on the lines of probably kept similar to your P. armenia or maybe P. cambridgei. I've tried everything with them. I've tried them a little bit more humid, a little bit more dry, more air holes, less air holes. Nothing I did worked. So I mean, I wouldn't take my advice, but yeah, I think more of Salmopoenae or Salmopaeus in your keeping habits with those. They do like to have some place to go down and hide in, so they are very reclusive as far as getting them into a tube, a small cork tube or something. And they will web up a little area, but you really have to pay attention to them, especially after a molt. Every single one I've lost, except for one who died in a molt, have been like a week after they molted. So. Oh, you guys don't live. I don't know exactly where in Canada John is. I just know that Pete Moss and Dave Scott are in Ontario in that area. So I'm not really quite sure where you're located, Shanny. If you're in Ontario, I mean, like we could drive right across a lake and we'd be right there. Because I always say with Pete and Dave that if you guys go to the shore of Lake Erie on your side, we could just wave to each other across the lake. But so you paranormal, you said you linked me a picture or something on Instagram. If you have a picture of that spider, I'd like to see him. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I mean you could try, Ian. That's all I could say. I would think that that would be the way to go. Even though I've done it here. I've never had a problem. I've had a multitude of Armenias and multitude of Cambridge eyes. I've lost one little sling of Cambridge eye in a molt and one little Armenia sling in a molt. But other than that, I've raised I think 7 male Armenias and now the 2 females, and then 5 Cambridge eye males, and really had no problems getting them to where I needed to. It's those P. gigas just, and I love them because they remind me so much of some will pay as pulkers, and pulkers are one of my favorites, of course. So I wanted to get one and raise it up. So my goal this year would be to find like a juvenile. It's already around, a juvenile female. It's probably already around the 2.5-inch mark, and then purchase that at that size instead of trying to get it through the sling stage. Where is Tarantula Canada located? I know that he goes there a lot, but so you're in Ontario, and Tarantula Canada is, are they farther west or east? They would be farther east than Ontario, wouldn't they, Tarantula Canada? Are they closer to Quebec or? Yeah, so there's 2 Sericopelmas that I want to pick up. One is on the list from. I would grab any of the ones I don't have, but I don't want to have multiple. I just want to have one of them. Sericopelma generalum is on my list from Pelt Friction, so I don't know if that one's coming in. Possibly. And my Melanotarsum that I had, I loved that spider, and that one died in a molt. I lose a lot of them in molts for some reason, and I don't know why. I guess when you have a lot of them, people don't really say when they lose spiders and how many they've lost, and because they don't want to look like bad keepers. But I think we all lose more than what we really want to admit to, especially when you have this many. You lose them and you question yourself, but you're like, okay, these 2 are sitting right on top of each other. Why did this one die and this one didn't? And they both molted like within a week of each other. It's just one of those things. I think that they were already in the natural selection that they were only going to get so big, and that's what happened. I say it to myself all the time, Ian, and it just keeps on happening. I did this thing with Pulp Friction. I sent them my mature male Monocentropus belfori, and that was going to be a trade. And I didn't say what I wanted. I said, surprise me, but here's a list of stuff that I'm interested in. So whatever you feel is justifiable, because they have 3 females that that they can breed this guy with, and if it's successful, that's a lot of ching there. So I don't know what they're really going to send. One of the spiders I had on there was a blondie sling, and she was kind of surprised because I never really wanted one. And I actually sent her a message the other day and said, I know you guys are all behind, but please take that spider off the list, because with what I want to do, that one's just not fitting in my plans, and I'd hate for her to send me one, because it would be a cool thing to get, and then me in another year wanting to get rid of it. So I was like, please take that off my list, and look at some of the other Chilobrachys that I don't have, Discalus, and I'd like to get another Huahini. So maybe put those on the list instead, and then pick what you want to send. Give me 10 minutes and I'll be off.
Oh, you don't need to talk or anything.
No, I don't.
No.
Oh, okay.
I was just gonna see if you're taking out a Brand's house. Mom can take me.
No. All right.
I can still smell the spicy enchilada.
Yeah, you will for a while.
Those things are awful. Like, it wasn't spicy, it just did not taste good.
Why don't you just take the car with you? Why you just take the van to work tomorrow?
Because they need it for church tomorrow.
When they come home before.
Huh? I have to be home at 8 o'clock in the morning. I can be up by then. I slept for 13 hours today.
All right.
Went to bed at 10:30 and woke up at 11:30.
Kid, to be a kid again, huh?
You're telling me.
Quebec. Okay, they are in Quebec. That's odd because I never really hear. I mean, I know a couple people that live in Quebec and they have more of a French accent to their English, or a French English accent. I don't really hear that from John. But yeah, to get back to what I was saying, Ian, I think I listed about 12 or 14, 15 different spiders. And I know 3 that are coming in. I know I have an Orphanacus philippinus coming in from a friend. I know I have the Chilobrachys wanzanensis that's coming in from a friend, and the Chilobrachys precop kirikon is coming in from me. I bought that spider, so I'd like to actually get a discalus and another huahini, because I don't know that enclosure there that you guys saw. That's where my mature male huahini's in. He's been in here for, I think since I bought this is when I put him in there. So he's been in there for 2 years. I got him, he was tiny, just a little tiny sling. So in roughly 2.5 years was the mature time with him. And really, for Asian species, he was one of my worst eaters. I only got a few clips of him ever feeding, and he was never really a big feeder. But in fact, I should have kept that down because he's going to need soak down. He's going to need water again. I put an extra water dish in there because the one I put in there last time, he buried it again. So I just douse his web and he comes out and drinks it off the web. But so, like I said, Lasiodorides polycuspalaeus will be the next tarantula spotlight video. So if there's other ones that you guys want me to do, send me messages. I want to compile a list of everything I have here so people kind of know exactly what I have. People kind of, do you have this or do you have that? And, I'll be like, no, I don't have that, but I do have this. Or I've had those, and I get a lot of, how's it, we kept this one, do you have experience with this one? And I like to try and wait a year. If I keep a spider for a year, I know that I've learned, what I need to learn about that spider and its habits, and, I feel more comfortable giving advice. I want to do, Shani's going to do my March subscriber video. So whatever she decides she wants me to do in March, within reason. And Deb McClure is doing the February one. And Deb had asked to do, a Vicularia. Why can't I say it? It's not a Vicularia video. And I think I really can't do that because I'm not a huge Avicularia person. I only have a handful of them here, and they're all real tiny. I don't have a lot of experience with a genus, and I'd feel wrong giving information of something I don't have a lot of or kept for a while. So I think her other request was a Orphanacus philippinus video, and Cheeto's gone now. I don't know if I can pull some of my old footage, but I may just do a video where I'm just talking about them, getting them from sling size to, more of an adult size. But yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know. I may have to have her come up with something different for that one too. Bailey, you're in here now. You're going to have to sit down until I'm done. My dog. Hey. Psst. Psst. What are you doing? Itching. I do have B. Schroederi. I did a tarantula spotlight video on the B. Schroederi. Trace, I wouldn't leave the darkling beetles in with the spiders. There's a couple of them that I've found that don't mind eating them, but most of them don't. They really don't particularly care for them, and once a darkling beetle starts to get hungry, it'll eat whatever it can. So, yeah, I wouldn't leave them in there. And if if you leave the darkling beetles, if you want to make more mealworms. Now I've had two different mealworm farms in the past, and this one just died, so I got like, I don't know, I got about 300 or 400 more here that are going to go into a new one. Let the darkling beetles live in the same enclosure that the mealworms are in. Just feed them some potatoes, give them something to hide in, like a toilet paper roll or something like that, and they'll just make new worms. They'll have babies, and then you'll see little tiny baby worms in there. Eventually they'll start growing into bigger ones. But I tend to stay away from keeping them with tarantulas. So if I do see, super worm or a mealworm that they don't eat and then they pupate, if I see the beetle walking around, I tend to try to get it out right away. And I actually saw one, I can't remember whose enclosure it was earlier, that I got to take out. Or did I already take it out? I know I was going to take it out. I might not have taken it out, but there is one running around. But I would get them out of the enclosure if that's where they're running around. If you don't want them to pupate, keep them in the fridge, the mealworms. The superworms you can't put in the fridge, it'll kill them. And if you don't want the superworms to pupate, keep them in something smaller where they're in contact with each other. Because if they're in contact with each other, they won't pupate. They will just keep molting and just getting to, even if they're as big as they're going to get, they won't pupate if there's something around them until they get to the point where they have no choice. And generally by then, you've already fed them off, or they become a beetle and the other worms will attack it as it's pupating. I've had that happen before. Okay, well, Paranormal, what's the question? I mean, you said, do I have a Beechwood dairy? Is that the question? I don't know if you had another question there. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I went seven Pyramias, right? 7 Pyramias and 5 Cambridge eyes. All were males before I got these 2 Armenia females. So I've never had a Cambridge eye female yet either. So, and I mean, I love the Cambridge eyes. I think they're great. I don't know that I'll get another one after I send this guy out. I think I'm gonna stick with my Ecclesiasticus. I really love those. My little Ecclesiasticus is really cool. I want to get another Reduncus. I don't know. We may end up going, try to run the gamut in the Salmopay, at least have one of each one. Those would be my main arboreals that I have. Probably actually my only arboreals, and then my female Pissotherius of Fusca Island. The Hottie I'll keep, but she's, she could be either one. The Omothymus Shiade I'm keeping. I love that spider. That's going to be more of an arboreal too, so we'll have a handful of them, but nothing. I don't want arboreals that I have to keep in something bigger than an 8x8x12. 8x8x12 is, you could keep pretty much any Salmopayus in that, and most of the Vicularia in those. They don't have a ton of room, but they don't need a ton of room. People think they need a whole bunch of room, and they really don't. They just need someplace to hide, someplace they feel comfortable, and someplace that they can eat and molt, really. Oh, that's cool, Ian. You'll have to, I'm sure you'll do a video on it, but I mean, I love mine. He was just out. I think mine's a male, though, so he'll end up going to pelt friction, too, because they have a female. I also have the Encircatella olivacea. That one's, I think mine's a male, too, so those two will end up going to pelt friction together. Either one of them matures first, they're both going to go over there for breeding purposes, and I would take the short dairy slings back or I'd take a handful of them, let them sell them and give me money, and then, of course, I would want some Encircatella olivacea slings back as well. Because that's another baboon species I'd like to have more of, because those are pretty cool because you can work them either way. If you set them up as a fossorial type of spider, they will web and they will dig. If you set them up in an arboreal enclosure, they will climb and they will live up. If you set them up both ways, they will do both. They will be up and they will be burrowed down. That's what this guy is. He's up a lot and he's burrowed down a lot. So that's another genus I'd like to breed myself, but I ended up with a male, so it's kind of tough. Unless they want to send me their female and let me do it, but I don't know. Yeah, well, that would be bad. And she can have mealworm pie in the middle of the night. Um, yeah, you can farm them. It's not really that difficult if you really want to make a lot of them. And that's a problem if you don't have a lot of things to feed them to. It's kind of a waste. But what I did is I had the plastic 3-tier drawers. So the top drawer, what you do is you cut out the bottom part of the drawer and then you glue screening to it. And then the second one, you do the same thing. You cut the bottom out of that one and you put screening in it. And then the bottom one you leave whole. So the bottom one, what you do is you transfer, that's where all your worms go, is on the bottom. When they start to pupate into the darkling beetles, you take the beetles out, you put them in the top one. And then you let them live in there. Now, they won't live a long time, but if you feed them and give them something to hide, they'll live a little bit longer. And then they will reproduce there, and the worms are so small, they fall through the screening into the next one. And they will grow there, and then, is that how I did it? But I had darkling beetles in the middle. Sorry, my darkling beetles were in the middle with a screen, and the little baby worms would go on the bottom. And then as the baby worms started to get bigger, they went into the top. So it was constantly transferring them. It started driving me crazy, so I just put them all together and let them do what they do. And eventually your farm will die if you keep them just in one container. They'll eventually die, but that one probably lasted about a year and a half. And probably had 4, 5, 6,000 worms come out of that. A lot of them got fed to the geckos and spiders, and I packed a whole bunch of them up and sent them to a friend. So yeah, they're not hard to raise. They're pretty easy. Potato, carrots, just feed them once a week or so, depending on how many you have. Just you have to figure out how much food you got to put in there based on how many worms are in there. Yeah, and I bet you he molts soon too, Trace. I would keep an eye because when I saw the picture the other day, it looked like he was, he's starting to get some size here before I sent him to you. But I bet you within the next month or two, he's going to be close to molting. And if he's not eating, especially because he was one that would never refuse food. So if he really stops eating, you know that it's coming. Generally, about 2 months from when he stops eating would be ballpark figure of when he's going to molt. Yeah, well, mine's male, so I don't know many people that have them. I know Austin Spears. If you know Austin Spears, he bred them. Um, I don't know that he got the sack yet because again they're brachypelma, so they take some time from breeding to actually when they gestate and drop the babies or drop the egg sacs. But that's why I wondered here because I felt both my Salmopaeus pulchers, she's not gaining any size, the younger one. So I'm assuming that the pairing didn't take with her. So I'm going to write that off as a fail. Um, but my other one's getting a little bit bigger, so I'm kind of hoping that one worked out. But and my Armenia is, or not Armenia, my P. Maria is another one I thought she should have dropped already if her pairing was good. But she's only about 3.5 years old, so I'm not quite sure that she's fully mature. She's full size, but it's hard to tell. I thought her spermatozoa was sclerotized enough, but she may not have been. And if they're full size and they're not mature enough, and they'll pair, but the pairing just won't take. So at least that's, to my best understanding, is that they need to be fully mature in order for them to retain the sperm and then actually produce eggs. Yeah, mites are tough. Um, I didn't have problems with The super worms were a pain in the ass because you got to separate them, and then you got containers, you know, fishing containers. That's what I used was, you know, like bait container, or not bait containers, but the little plastic containers that have separated compartments. You just put a worm in each one of them, and then let them pupate into a beetle, and then you take the beetles out, throw them all together, and let them do their thing. But this last year, I was fortunate. I didn't really deal with the grain mite so much, but I dealt with those stupid little gnats like crazy. They just, and that was my fault because I fed a thing of butternut squash to the roaches, and they didn't finish eating it, so I think we got some flies because of that. But and it took forever to get rid of them. I hate those things more than anything. Actually, mealworms are pretty good for you. Just straight protein. That may, I mean, in the future, you may see that we may, as humans may have to rely more on different sources of protein, like crickets and mealworms and stuff like that, because we're just not going to be able to produce enough food to feed everybody here in this world of ours. Now that may be why he's getting a little bit bigger, because he's eating quite a bit. But I think he was closing in on more. I mean, I thought so here, so I'm sure he's going to be close. Take it easy, and thanks for dropping in, even though you weren't here very long. I know it's late there, so I got to work tomorrow too, so I'm not going to be on much longer. I'm going to get a small little snack and another thing of water and watch a little bit of TV before I go to bed. So I'm going to say it's 8:31 now, no longer than 8:50, and I'll be off of here. He likes to stay on top of stuff. He was always a more out spider than he was an in spider. He's another one. I got him at, I don't think he was the 1/4 inch one. He might have been like a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch when I got him. So I've had him for actually a couple of years, believe it or not. Have a good one, Ian. Yeah, a lot. You know, a few other people said the same thing too. They're enjoying the live stuff. And if I start advertising it more, and we get some more of my subscribers to come in, where we're getting, you know, 15, 20, 30 people here, I think that'll help bring more attention to the channel too. Because I kind of decide at the last minute, I'm like, oh well, everyone's going away, let's do live, you know, instead of scheduling it and then advertising. And let me ask you guys a question, because I don't know how the whole thing's working, because I don't have a bell icon on any of the channels I subscribe to, because it was just driving me crazy before, because I hit that bell for everybody. It was like every 15 minutes I was getting a, you know, notification that somebody's uploading a video. But on my profile for the YouTube, they have that community page where I'll like ask a question, or, you know, say, I think the other day I put a picture or something up of, I don't remember what it was. I took a picture of something and said, oh, for the crab, right? Stay tuned for the video. Are you guys seeing those? Are you guys getting notified for those? I'm just curious, because I mean, 1 or 2 times I'll get people to comment on them, and then a couple times I don't get anybody, and I don't know if I do a community tab or a community post that you guys get it. For those of you who have the bell, does that come up as a notification on your bell too? I was hoping to work a little bit more in that community tab to reach people that, you know, actually have that bell, and they'll be like, oh, well, you know, he's gonna have a video coming up, I gotta make sure I watch, or we're going live or whatever. So, you know, I was just kind of curious about that. I meant to ask a couple of people that, you know, on a message, but I wonder how people come about that. It just shows up in the stream, because I know, like, Payden showed up in when I went to my YouTube, And you know, when I open up YouTube for me and I open up my channel, then you'll have my whole video list. If I go to like subscriptions, it'll show everything that people that I subscribe to are putting out or have put out, and then you'll see the community tab. So maybe it works that way. I really don't know. But I mean, if that's the way it is, it's kind of stupid, right? You guys should get notified every time that I would do that. Maybe it's something I need to do to change that. I don't know. I'll do, you know what I'll do is I'll do a community tab after this, just asking how you guys enjoyed the live feed, and then see if it comes up for you guys and see what happens. And then you can, you know, just say, yeah, I got it, or it came up as a notification, or no, you know, I had to search for it, or whatever it is. But the minute that I get off this, I'll go right to the community tab, and maybe I'll just ask a quick question or whatever there, see if you guys get that. So again, I don't hit the bell again because I was subscribed to so many channels before that they were coming up all the time. Not the community tab, because that's something new, but the actual videos themselves. So if they are that way, and you have the bell, and you have that bell clicked for a bunch of different channels, it would probably drive you crazy. I don't know, Nuno. I put some crickets in there last night, so they're not there now. And then I put what would they sell me? That krill. It was like dried krill. I put that in two different places, and one place the krill was gone, the other place was still there. So I'm assuming that it did come out and scavenge, and it was out a little bit more. You know, when I checked on it earlier, I'll check on it before I go to bed here tonight. It's kind of cool. I want to get some really, really good close-up pictures of it with the lights off, and just the light above it on, just to see if I can get more of the coloration, because it's a lot more red than what's showing up in my pictures. Yeah. I worry about this little gal over here, this pulker. She needs to be sprayed down again. I noticed that the pulkers seem to like the spray. When you mist from the top through the screen, it creates more like a raindrop effect. It seems like they, especially my Salem, my larger female, when I did that the other day, she was going crazy, chasing water drops all over the enclosure. And they like to lick the water right off the wall. Haley. I just wanted you to let the dog out because she wanted to come out. Everybody sees you too.
Huh?
Because you're on live TV.
You're not on live TV?
I am. And now you are.
Is the camera facing you or me?
You.
Why?
Because that's the way I have it.
That's awkward.
See how gullible she is. Oh, Shani, that depends. Basic care depends on where they are from, because the ones that you get from Africa are kept a little bit different than the ones that you're finding here in the United States. The ones in Florida are a little bit more humid. You should keep them at a little bit, make sure that the ground is a little bit more humid. If you're getting the ones from Africa, they are a rainforest type of species, so they need to be kept humid a little bit more. The ones that you're getting here from the Midwest over there, or the lower Midwest, or lower Southwest, I guess, they could be a little bit more drier. The one that I had, you want to try and feed like every 5 to 7 days, but you want to mist an area at least every 3 days. Doesn't have to be a huge misting, but on the side, again, they won't drink out of a water bowl, but give them something to get the moisture off the sides. The best thing to do for them is to try and create like a small crevice, out of whatever, so they can go inside there. They like to be in very, very tight spaces. That's why they're so thin. um, they are pretty cool to watch eat. The way that they eat is they have these little things that go in and out, almost like scorpions, and they emit like their venom or their toxic uh, digestive juices right onto whatever they're eating, and that's how they liquefy. It's pretty cool. Um, that's basic, but you have to know exactly which one you have so you know where it's from. I didn't have a dish with mine at all, so I just sprayed. They definitely need something vertical because they molt hanging from that. They won't go down to the ground and molt like a spider do. They attach themselves like a huntsman spider will. Not quite, where a huntsman spider will attach itself this way and molt down gravity wise. These guys will attach themselves this way and then molt down. So, and then the molt will fall off, and then you'll end up finding it on the ground. But they're a lot of fun. I've caught mine eating more during the day than staying at night. But there are times when I feed it and it doesn't eat, and the cricket will be in there for a few days, and then next it's gone. They're very particular. I mean, I had mine that she molted 4 times before she passed away, and that one caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that one at all. You have to let me know which one, and I may be able to help you a little bit more. So like the Damon diadema and I think the Damon medius are from Africa, and then there's a couple, I'm not quite sure what they are, from the United States. There's one in Florida. I had it, but never molted. It was just very, very small and came in real weak. I knew that one was going to make it. The thing I'm surprised about is my vinegaroon, because a lot of people said vinegaroons are very difficult to keep and keep alive, and I've found that that's completely false, because I forget about it every now and then. I'm like, oh man, I probably need to feed that thing and give it some water, and it's a trooper. That one's been really, really bulletproof, really. I've never seen that one drink out of a water dish, but I'd recommend trying a vinegaroon. I think they're a lot of fun. They're really cool to hold. The whip scorpions are a little bit more difficult because they're a little bit more erratic. They're kind of crazy on their movements, and they can be pretty quick. It's like shuffle, 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 and what you saw in Harry Potter is pretty much exactly how they are. I mean, I held her a couple times, but she was in my hand. Next, she was on my shoulder. Not that you really have to worry about them, but they're just, you just don't expect that little thing to move that quick. They're a lot of fun. Now I want to redo my vinegaroon setup. I don't like it. I actually want to put the vinegaroon into one of these plastic shoe boxes that I have. Give it a little bit more room. And this is a southwestern species, so it's a United States species. So it's drier, but it's just kind of plain. It's just cocoa fiber, which I don't like. I think I'd rather use some of this excavator clay and sand. And then maybe a base layer in some other, places like a little gravel area, and then a little place with cocoa fiber. Just mix it up a little bit, but it likes to live under its half coconut hide. But it's getting big. I would have expected it to molt by now, and it hasn't molted yet. I'm kind of surprised. There's a few here that I'm really, really expecting a molt soon, like Brachypelma auratum. That one needs to molt desperately. Who else? Oh, one of my Stratojaris brachycephalus. One of them needs to molt bad, and I hope it goes okay, because I only have the 2 left out of the 3, and I haven't seen one of those through a molt yet. So yeah, okay, when I get it, I'll go check it out. You send it through Messenger, I can go check it out. Oop. Holy man, I got all kinds of messages here. Oh man, visually I'm not gonna be able to tell you the difference, but I think that is one of the United States ones. So you're gonna want to keep it with some bark and maybe a little bit of moss on the bottom that you can spray. But for the most part, you don't want to go crazy with it. But knowing the exact species is going to be really helpful. I think if I can get that, I can help you out, because I know some people that that do keep them, and keep them exclusively. They don't keep anything else but these things, so I know that I can probably get you some help as far as the exact care for it. There's a group for these too. I think for Taylor Swift scorpions, I would check around and see. But definitely, you want to make sure you know which one you have. I think they will eventually. Yeah, I do. I think you'll see more Harpacteria here than what we have right now, and some species that people don't even know about yet. That being one of them. It may take a while, and it's going to take someone like Pulp Friction or Austin Spears or somebody. Austin Spears has been getting some really really good um, African species. I've got some cool things coming from him. That's where my Kigomas came from, the two that I have up there. That there's no place else on YouTube that has the Kigomas or the Mozambiques. Um, I've seen Tetes on YouTube, and then the ones I have coming in, like the Mikumis, those aren't on YouTube yet, and the new ones I have coming in from Austin, which would be the Pteronachilus cordatus mostov. Those are absolutely stunning. I'm actually going to add a second one to my order because I'm afraid I might not find them again after this, and they're just absolutely stunning. And then the Pteronachilus marinus Zimbabwe, which are more the silver ones. Those are the really, really sought after, the more rare ones, the most expensive Pteronachilus so far. And then the Lapalala. And there's one more Pteronachilus I'm looking for, and I just don't remember the name of it. It's a small name with an X in it. I can't think of what it is, but Vexa, Voxa, Voxa, something like that. Those haven't made it here, but I do expect to see some more Harpacteria in the next maybe year and a half. That depends on what Africa wants to do, because I've been hearing some rumors that they may start shutting down some of their species being sent across the world too. So yeah, it's everything's about money, and when countries are starting to realize how much money it is that's going on, and especially here in the States, it's absolutely crazy. Not that it's different, much different in the UK. It's a huge thing in the UK. It's a huge thing in Europe, but money definition is much higher here in the United States than it is anywhere else, and it's almost like everybody wants to punish our country by saying, yeah, you know what, we're not gonna let our stuff come to you anymore. And then with our, U.S. The USFWS, they can make things a little bit more difficult for our hobby. So. He had a list. I don't know that the list was getting picked over pretty good. He only had a limited amount. I mean, I don't know if I don't want to say I was the first one that he sent it to, but I know it was one of the first ones that he sent it to. And he sent it to me straight in a messenger, which he always does when he has an import coming. He'll always send something straight to me before he puts it out anywhere else. Say, is there anything you want? Let's get it together now. And I think, like I said, I got the Kigomas from him last time, and then the 3 Avicularia urinensis that I have. That was the last thing that I got from him, and now these 3, which will end up being 4 when I add this other. If he still has another Pteronachilus available, they won't be ready for a while because the cordatus and I think either the Mozambiques or the Kigomas that they have, they're on egg sacs, so it's a matter of them hatching and then getting the first instar before they can move them out. So I would imagine I won't see anything till March, late February, middle of March, end of March, somewhere in that area. But I'd like to get another cordatus mostov reserved, because I mean, he sent me pictures of them. I'll send you a picture. Are we friends on Facebook? If not, send me a friend request, or send me a message on Messenger, and then I'll send you the picture that he sent to me of those cordatus mostovs. They're just unbelievable. I always thought the Kigomas would be my favorites because the coloration of them. And you have a little bit of yellow in the darks and different kind of darks in the browns, and some of the tans and some of the darker colors that come with them. And then I saw the Zimbabwe's, and those are expensive though. They're $90 a sling, so I could only get one of them. And the mostovs are, I can't remember if those were 40 or 45, something like that. And the Lapalas are 50, which was actually, I was surprised at the price. I thought they would have been more expensive than that. So I'm kind of pleased, but The Zimbabwe was one that I saw, you know, way back, probably a year and a half ago with the Kigoma, and I was like, I have to have those, and I can't wait till they get here. And we were waiting and waiting, and when Austin had that list and he said Kigomas, I was like, yeah, I got to get them. And then I have the Makumis coming from Pelt Friction too, so. So is your at Paranormal Tarantulas on Instagram then? You said you sent me a message on Instagram, right? So I'll be able to catch up with you there. I'll figure out a way to get you the picture that way. You won't be able to share it though. It's gonna have to be sent to you, and you can just kind of check it out, and then that's it. He doesn't. I mean, he put his pictures up, but I don't want to. I don't want to take his limelight from him. It's a really cool import. He's got some other stuff. Epipopus sinanathus. There's another one I was thinking about adding because I think mine may have matured into a male, or my male, which I think was a male, may have matured. I haven't seen him out yet. Oh, that's where the darkling beetle was, Tracy. That's where it was, in that one. So I got to get it out of there. Yeah, he had a list. I don't know where he. I mean, he put it on. Of course, it's on Facebook on different channels, but I don't know where else he would have that list if he does Instagram, if he put it on Instagram or not. But 9 o'clock. That's when I'm going to end. So it's 8:51, so I'm definitely going to end at 9 o'clock, which would push what we've been doing this for about 2.5 hours now. I do have a lot of fun with this, believe it or not, even though there's only a handful of us in here. Because I can actually give some information and help people that ask questions and actually use information and just have a little bit of fun too. So you guys would watch a video if I did it just on like different landmarks here where I'm from, or you know, things from my childhood growing up, different places here. I think everybody would kind of like that. You go down to Presque Isle and do some filming down there, and I'm gonna have to hit up Peyton and see if she wants to just do it. Maybe we could do a collab video at her place. That might help me actually, you know, being in a video there with her on her channel, because she's got over 5,000 subscribers. So maybe that could help me catch a couple too. I don't know. I would wait till like you probably won't see that till June, after Alex is out of, you know, done with school and baseball and everything, and it needs to be warmer before I can do that. We'll go down to the creek down here, Elk Creek, where I used to. Oh, my friends from here used to go swimming. I didn't go swimming. I would just go down there and hang out, but did a lot of fishing there. And we'll go down there, and Wintergreen Gorge Cemetery, places that we used to go when I was a kid. And I could do. I'd like to film my old house where I grew up. I just don't know. There's a cop that lives there now. I don't know how much he would appreciate me stopping and filming in front of his house. But Presque Isle, and of course I could probably do a drive-by of where I work. We could film where I work. I can't film there, it's, you know, because you know, it's a shareholder kind of thing. So we can't. We have competitors, so we're not allowed to videotape anything unless I'm videotaping it for, you know, maintenance reasons. But Waldemare and some other places, we'll have to do some stuff around here. I think it would be kind of cool. The airplane that's in the cemetery right down the road here that my grandfather used to tell me when I was a little kid that he flew when he was in the service. Even though he was lying to me, I thought it was still cool because I used to go around saying my grandfather flew that plane. I probably had kids believing me too. The Mill Creek Mall, where my daughter's working, that was being built when I was a kid. My dad worked there as an electrician for a while. Now you sent me a message though, right? Paranormal. You have to tell me what your @ is there on Instagram. I don't go on the forums. I mean, I see Tarantulas USA every now and then pop up, but I don't go on the forums very often because I don't get on the computer. It's everything for me is just phone stuff. I don't know. We'd have to see. the hard part's going to be September. Will be, you know, Eric's going to be running cross country for college now, so my falls are going to be filled up with wherever he's going and doing, and I don't know, maybe if we get out that way. We were going to Hershey every year. Well, that's all done now because the track isn't in Hershey. It's in, I think it was in Lackawanna. No, that wasn't, no, Lackawanna. They're in Slippery Rock. That's where they did track this year, Slippery Rock. Yeah, you know what? Pennsylvania's got a lot of fairs that are some of the oldest in the world. I know that. I know the York Fair's been going around for a long time. The Butler Fair, Crawford County Fair, there's a ton of them that have been around for a long time. But 5 more minutes, and I'm gonna check out and become a vampire. Well, no, I don't want to become a vampire because then I won't sleep tonight. I need to become a person that sleeps. Yeah, he's been to Lackawanna a couple times to run there. We never went with him because it was just too far for us to go. We picked other places to go, but I don't know what he'll do in college where they go. And I mean, he's got to make. I mean, he's on the team, but he's got to make the actual team to not redshirt. So if they want to keep him back a year as far as, you know, keep his eligibility, they may redshirt him as a freshman. We'll have to see. We're kind of hoping that he doesn't. We're kind of hoping that he competes this year, but. So if he's not competing, we won't be going anywhere. He'll just go with the team. So we'll have to find out. He's got some training to do over the summer, so he'll start hitting that. And I'm kind of curious because he kind of peaked and plateaued in high school. And this last year, he actually kind of slowed down a little bit. But he had a couple small injuries, a little plantar fasciitis problem, and a little bit of a Achilles tendon issue that I just don't think they're training properly. So you know, they'll be running in a pool, you know, with banded. They'll have a band and a treadmill in the pool, and they'll run in the pool. I think that was kind of cool. But they're more specific to training the individual instead of the team, which I think is going to be cool in college for him. So, but we'll have to see. I don't think so. I was never that far north on that side. The farthest, I mean, I've been all the way across 80 to get to Philadelphia, but that's about as far north in that part of Pennsylvania that I've ever been is 80. I've never been really any higher north than that. So if you're way higher than north than 80, which I'm thinking that you would be, I don't think I've ever even come close to that area. Okay, well, I'm gonna say goodbye. We're gonna get off. It was a pleasure being with everybody today, having a little bit of fun and chatting. Um, I remember when we used to work out of town and I think FaceTime first started coming out. I always kind of felt goofy doing that, where you're talking to people over the internet. But it's been kind of fun. So have a great night. Have a great rest of your weekend. And oh, have you been in here, Kathy or Catherine, or are you just coming in? But yeah, good night, and I hope everybody had fun. And I'll do a real quick community tab question so that I want to know if you guys actually get that, and then you could just comment back. So if you don't get the notification, don't comment. I want to see if you guys actually get notified for it. So we'll see everybody later. I got a big day at work tomorrow. I got a machine I got to rewire, so I'm gonna be busy all 8 hours tomorrow. Kind of busy all day today too. I do most of the rewiring of the machines, or moving the machines that we've been moving. So we take them apart and then we put them back together again, and then, you know, I got to reland all the wires. So I got that to look forward to right at 6:30 in the morning tomorrow. So I'm trying to get some sleep, and we'll see everybody later. Thanks for joining, and